Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday. I'm going to start a little bit early so I can hopefully get done a little bit early. My son's birthday, have to get him some gifts, do the whole thing. So we're going to get this started. How's everybody doing today? Hey, Trish, CS, Lori, Thor, Money Moves. Money Moves says, welcome to the weekend. I got all the things this morning. Movie theater popcorn, cherry slushy, a box of dust, and chocolate-covered peanuts. Let's go. True crime comedy, that's what he said. Borderline abusive. So I think, all things aside, Betty aside, I think she did a good interview because we got to see sides of Seth that personally I knew always existed. Hey, always me, Naomi. He gave a lot of information. I know, Megan. I know. Hey, Mr. Tomato Head, Time Traveler, Jason. Seth gave a lot of information on this interview. It was very interesting. Hey, traders, toe beans, just breathe. They are doing some construction work. It may get loud. I don't know. Hey, Doodle Mom. Chilly. Oh, it's nice here. Hey, Tennessee Road. So I thought it was very eye-opening. There are a few takeaway points that I personally noted. I don't know about all of you, but we'll go through it and we'll see what everybody thinks. Hey, Day Tripper. He said that because he had a routine before bed in California. It's weird. It doesn't make sense. Hey, Winnie. Just doesn't make sense. I know, just breathe. Me and these crack ass of dawns, I'll tell you. I'm an early riser. Hey, Colleen, Forever Army. So, wait for a few more people to come in, then we'll jump right on into it. Again, I found it very interesting. Revival, good morning. I think Seth is unraveling. It's actually Seth. I think he needs to get rid of the people around him. Hey, Heather, Broken Bougie, Caroline. I don't know if oh, Bets. He was on Betty's. Yes, he was. I was very respectful. Her chat wasn't. Hey, Kathy. Why, I can't come in and ask some questions? What's the matter, Betty? Chill out. It was actually hysterical. I mean, what kind of spokesperson sits there and doesn't fucking speak? I'm sorry. The whole thing's weird. The family's weird. Poor Sebastian was failed on every level, if you ask me. I can't help but think the whole thing is like, I would have ran away too. I would have ran away too. They did not like her questions. Betty was not happy with the questions. Well, it was a cuddle Seth moment. That's all it was. Because, quite frankly, the stuff he was saying was so concerning. It's like, hello? How can you, let's see, did Betty really love about me? Let me see. Betty, knock it off. It's not my fault your heart was broken. She ain't getting all those viewers she got last time. $15 minutes back, let's see. He is losing it. She didn't ask no hard questions. Yeah, your chat was nasty as shit, Betty. Your chat was everything you cry about. Your chat took personal blows at me, all because I asked some tough questions. Your chat was everything you literally have a lawsuit for. How funny is that?
We take you for who you are. We haven't blocked you yet. Well, we might have.
Well, you
but we
should.
keep unblocking you for some reason, so you're good. Okay, happy birthday! Your birthday present is you get 2 days.
Since that.
So instead of JLR, just realize this is a hurt man, and he's very confused, and he's got a lot of people pulling him every different way. He decided to go scorch earth on this man. because of
Oh, shut up, Betty. The only reason, oh, you guys weren't seeing it? The only reason Betty is even mentioned in JLR is because he broke her heart. Shut up. The man don't have people pulling him every which direction. He didn't go off on Seth because of that. He went off because he sees what everybody can see. Oh, they were so nasty to me, Megan. They were mean. Vultures, I'll tell you.
his hurt feelings. And that's truly what happened. And I just wish JLR would understand this man is broken. If he would have just chilled out and just laid back and just let things die down, it would not be here. Things would have been patched up and would have been better. But he didn't give it an opportunity before he decided to slice this man's throat and put a freaking knife in his back.
Oh, please, slice his throat. He's a fucking suspect, Betty. Get it together. I might need her one day. Can you give me a timestamp, Red? I would love that. I would love that. All right, Betty, you're funny. Hey, Wood Fairy. If the day ever comes that I need Betty, I'll log off. I'll tell you that. I will log off. Yeah. I don't think I'll ever need you, Betty. I was very respectful. I wrote very respectful questions like, oh, now the PR guy speaks. Can you tell us about the last time you saw your son? It was questions like that. I wasn't rude. I wasn't rude at all. Hey, Kathy. Hey, Tracy. Porsche. No. JLR's just not biasly covering this case. That was current. That was current time, Queen Bella. Yeah, she can't stop talking about me. I think she thinks I took her Burger King crown. Poor thing. I'll give it back. She can have it. Wouldn't want her to miss the drive-through. They were well, you know what they were, Just Breathe. They were the Burger King crown wearing person's little trolls is what they were. They were normal questions, nursery. They were very polite. I wasn't rude by any mean. Yes, and we're going to talk about that. We are going to talk about that. Tell her she can have it, Fox. We don't want it. We don't want it. It's greasy, like her face.
Imagine what you are going through.
Bam, bam.
Do you want to talk a little bit about, before we get started, about, just how things have been progressing in the case?
What are you wearing, Betty? Now I'm going to be mean to you because you talk shit. Now I'm going to be mean. What are you wearing? Exactly. No, Caroline, the chat did. The chat was saying some really nasty things. It's a shame. It's a shame you have such a nasty chat, Betty. Seth called JLR like, hello. She did dress up. This is her Sunday best. Well, we're about to play it. Bless her heart. She cried.
Just maybe some updates
Hey,
or anything
Kathy.
like that, and then we'll just get started.
What updates?
Okay, well, that's it too, right? Gotcha. Well, this is what I'd first like to do. I kind of want to explore your unique relationship with Sebastian.
Why was it unique? What part of it was unique? Because he barely saw him, or because he was borderline abusive? Which part was unique? Because Seth Rogers has no problem taking all the prescription drugs in the world, but he wouldn't give his son the prescriptions that he needed. What is unique about it?
I heard that when he was born, you were kind of dad. You were home with him. Explain a little.
You were kind of dad. You had to be a dad when he was born. That's so sad. Hey, KNS, thank you so much. Ah, so much. They are messy, not that, Nina. They are very messy. Good morning, small wildflowers and gypsy trails. This her Emmy Award-winning moment. She had to dress the part. I heard she likes chokers.
Explain how you guys learned about his disabilities and ailments. Was it right away? Was it
after his first one, or was it curse?
Before, she was pregnant for 9 months. So
was she? Wow. Pregnant for 9 months. That's like unheard of.
Read a lot of books. I've never been a parent before.
Reading books told him that he was disabled.
Must devour information and knowledge to try to
it is fixed.
Be prepared for what's going to happen. And first thing that I kind of realized is that my son was, he'd be awake for 16, 18 hours a day.
All right, so let's take note, right? He'd be awake for 16, 18 hours a day, he says. Okay. But you also said his favorite thing to do was sleep. I mean, so sorry. He did everything. Katie was just, I don't know, maybe a teenager. I don't know.
As an infant.
Mhm.
And I'm like, well,
Good
that's
morning,
not what
Whispers.
the books say. The books say he should be sleeping this long.
So he had sleeping problems as a very young baby.
Yeah. And
I want to
it's
sleep
just
too
like
if I
he
was
was
surrounded
awake.
by
He
this.
was active. So trying
And
to
having a new baby and already being sleep deprived, that had to have been an interesting
Yep.
combination.
It's a combination we all go through. It's called parenthood. It's hard.
Well, I already have my own sleep issues as it is, especially
Right.
back then. When Sebastian was born,
Thank you,
I was
Michelle.
working full time, going to school full time, and
That's a lot of full time for one full time day. He was working full time, going to school full time, and being a full time dad. It's a lot of full timing. How can you do all that full
I
time?
was just okay. So I have a child, so I was trying to be a dad full time,
Oh,
and
full time,
it
full
just-
time,
it
full
was
time.
a lot.
What
Always.
kind of challenges, did you guys have learning his disabilities?
Well, we found out about the chromosomal deletion syndrome at a very young age. Took him in to Jacksonville, and they told me and Katie needed parenting classes.
They told you to take parenting classes? Parenting classes.
And it was like, it's not parenting classes, it's sleep.
Mm-hmm.
There is no downtime. It's like, you don't understand, between
Mhm.
work and my son, there's no time to sleep. It's not, I'll take a nap when he goes down, because he doesn't go down.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're working 8-10 hours a day. You're taking care of your child that is active, functioning active, like crawling around.
It sounds normal to me. I'm sorry, working 8 to 10 hours to take care of a child sounds like everyday life. Like that's what people do. But I thought he was a stay-at-home dad. He was a full-time stay-at-home dad. He was a full-time working, and he was full-time at school. He was doing a lot of full-time things in one full day. He's very impressive.
It took him a while to walk, but he was always active.
Mm-hmm.
He's always been active.
What kind of accommodations did you guys have to make when learning of his disability? Like, other than the classes and stuff like that, what did the doctors say? What did you guys have to do?
More reading.
Really
He
bad.
was born in 2008.
I'm not highlighting that.
Like 8 people had it, 8 known cases. So there was really no information about it. Doctors were like, there's no money in researching this, so people haven't researched it. So
No, I got cursed out for asking. That's
every-
what Betty attacked me for. That was my question. I was very nice, Nana. I was very nice. I just said, can you clarify the last time you saw Sebastian? Can you clarify it? And I was attacked. Bunch of vultures, I'll tell you. If these people ever come in my chat, don't treat them so cruel. That was mean. That was mean. They're lucky I don't give a shit, because that could have hurt somebody's feelings.
day was a day.
These
You
are
know?
the same people that attack Katie, and then
As
they're
a
like, but
mom,
Seth is a grieving
Figure it
father.
out and you do it.
How was it like when he was a baby, and
Good
how
morning,
did you guys
Picasso.
deal like with his sensory issues and other things? Like,
Oh
did you
my
just have to
gosh.
try stuff?
Horrific.
It was, well, I like it quiet to begin with, so it's not really much of an issue on that one.
Mm-hmm.
He likes it
But-
quiet to begin with. Does anybody notice? Like, you can ask a question about Sebastian, but he has to bring it back to himself. You have my back. You have my back. I don't like any of them, Kara. That's fact. Thank you for that, Miss Fletcher. But so every time, oh, you don't either. Okay. So every time you asked a question about Sebastian, he makes it about himself. Like, he didn't mind the sensory issues because he doesn't like noise. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not the question. That wasn't the question. It's not about you. Everything is about him. The entire
When he
time.
was young, it was.
Oh, yay. The
It
non-spokesman
was
comes.
fun. I mean, I enjoyed it. I mean, it was new to me, so it's not like I was comparing it to anybody,
Wow.
any other child.
Mm-hmm.
You know, to me, this was my first child.
Wow.
So had nothing but books to compare it to.
So scared.
We all know children are different.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Who's
one of
scrolling? Stop scrolling your mouse like that. It's ridiculous. Oh my gosh. Betty said I shouldn't have been so mean. I wasn't even mean. I was very polite because I might need her one day. I hope you can forgive me. Hello, Eve. Fixing a snap.
I remember him sitting on the threshold between the living room and the kitchen, and just sitting there, and you buy him all the toys he wanted, but he was going to go for that one. You give him an empty 2-liter, and he would play with that more than all the other toys that you bought him.
Now put a 1 in the chat because I think we've all experienced this. Have you ever joked that, like, instead of buying your child the toy, you should have just gave them the box that it came in? That is like a common thing. I don't know. Someone just got into it, her on her morning live. I think I should call in. Do you want me to? I should call in. Is she still taking call-ins? I'll call in, Betty. I want to ask him what scenario you think I would ever need you. Right, it's a normal thing, right? I mean, I've joked about it plenty of times.
All right, and it's like, okay, well, whatever makes him happy, you know. And at one point in time, it was about 45 minutes that he just sat there and laughed the whole time. And
gotta have it my way.
On one side, I was on the other, and we were just making funny faces at him, and he just kept laughing. It was, you know.
Wow. Making funny faces. Thank you, VB. Or was he making fun of? Right. Hey, Wandering
Tony,
Son.
thank you. Thank you so much. I wanted to welcome you, but so sorry. I started a little.
Oh, Betty, you lit up there. Girl, we see. The number's big and bold, 724-249-6140. I want to know why we're just now finding out about Seth having CPS called against him. That's what I want to know. Hey, Gary.
I didn't want Seth sitting back there too long.
It's all right. Don't interrupt the boss.
Believe in love on a YouTube panel.
So what is one of your? Tell me a little bit about like fondest stories. Like what did you guys like?
Do it. We'll stream you
when he was a baby.
Yeah, tell us about Sebastian, not you.
Loved to go swimming, and it was great activity. Putting sunscreen on him, and then just going. And I've always liked to be a swimmer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, to be quite fair, one shot, I wasn't disrespectful. I was actually very polite. My questions were on par with the topic. I wasn't taking low blows. It was very genuine questions. I had for real questions. Now, there was a time where the whole world was against Betty, and I kind of had her back. So it was a little disrespectful, because if anything, Bets, you're the one that needed me at one point, right? But I digress. You're angry at JLR because he broke up with you, and that's a shame, but it has nothing to do with anybody else. Take your shit out on me. Good morning, Sky. Right. But we all brought it out, and it was denied, and we were told we were, stupid and we're liars, and it never happens. It did.
To me, it didn't matter. Like, I swim it. When I grew up, swimming was, you swam in ponds. You didn't have a pool.
Oh, yeah.
Country.
Did you walk 20 feet in the snow, too?
I swam in rivers, lakes, ponds.
Now, let me pause. Did anybody else notice? We're asking about Sebastian. What did Sebastian like to do when he was little? What was his activities when he was a baby? Swimming. And now we go all into how Seth used to swim in this and used to swim in that and he used to do this and used to do that. We're not asking about you, Seth. This is the part I can't stand about this man. Like, it ain't about you. Oh, so she did it early on. Let me see. 103.55. Right when she was getting started? Yeah, whatever. We'll get you later, Betty.
Something there that'll eat you. You'll find out. Otherwise,
Me.
you know,
Every time.
it don't kill you. It makes you stronger.
There you go.
Sebastian, on the other hand, you know, he's swam in
Right.
a lot of different
That's what I'm feeling.
saltwater pools, freshwater pools, chlorine pools, but it's always been pools. He never really liked the beach because he didn't like the sensation of the water around his feet.
Mhm.
So,
And he doesn't really. Well, I've got it down further, but to go
And every story does always end in a negative undertone. It does.
through some of the stuff because he doesn't really.
And
like
Betty talking about JLR going cutthroat at Seth and stabbing him in the back and all those things. Get out of here. That's what you bonded on Tony with. He didn't go as Seth. He pointed out the inconsistencies and the BS of Tony, which were very crucial to the case, may I add. He didn't just take little jabs at him as a person. No, he pointed out the misinformation coming from his spokesperson. That's it. And that's how you got this interview. So let's keep it real.
like dirt and stuff between his toes. It
no,
seems like.
Right.
No, he doesn't. I mean, when he was younger, it didn't really matter but as he got older, I've got pictures. I've got plenty of pictures of him dirty.
Of him dirty.
But that was before he started talking and, dressing himself. And
She stole
and
Queen's
it was
questions.
like
The questions
want-
that were asked over there.
He didn't want himself dirty.
Mhm.
And it's like, you still got to take a shower, boy.
So go take a shower, boy. So now is he, I mean, what age are we at now?
Gotcha.
What a fake
And
laugh.
it kind of dovetails right into kind of my next line of questioning.
DuckTales.
I want to kind of discuss his disabilities.
Last
a
time
little
he was
bit,
involved,
and want to
Kara?
explore like his likes and dislikes. What are like some of the major
This is where we
things that
get
he
weird.
absolutely loves?
Besides like video games or, because what I've gathered over the last 3 months is that
No. We don't want to know what you gathered the last 3 months. We want to know what you gathered over the last 15 years of your son's life.
he's different at my house than he is at his mom and dad, at his mom and stepfather.
Oh. Did anybody hear that? He almost said mom and dad's. He's different at my house than he is at his mom and dad's. Because that's what it was before you allowed the internet to get their hands on you. You co-parented. Chris was known as his dad. You were dad. Now all of a sudden it's different. But we heard you. All kids are different at different households.
What I've gathered over the last 3 months is that he's different at my house than he is at his mom and dad, at his mom and stepfather's.
Mom and
So,
dads.
I've heard some of the stories, and it's not one of those pleasant things that I like because it just means I was in.
Means what? It means you weren't as involved as you thought you were? What does it mean?
Inadequate in doing what I should have done.
Ah, we called that. Aye.
In a situation like this, it's always the coulda, woulda, shouldas. You'll have plenty of time to beat yourself up later. We just
Doesn't matter.
He's
It's
beating
an everyday
himself up.
process now
Oh.
until I find him.
I'm being serious. I do feel a little bad for him, to be honest. I mean, he's still a
He
grieving
loved
father.
anime. He loved watching cartoons. Even though he's 15, I mean, one of his favorite ones, like he loves ramen.
So let's take note of that. Right? Let's take note of that. Even though he was 15. See, I keep getting this vibe with Seth when he mentions the nuclear family and he mentions what should be perfect, right? What should be the perfect family. People said this is how Chris felt, but I believe that's how Seth felt. I feel like Seth felt like Katie and Sebastian threw off his idea of the nuclear family. It was supposed to be mom and dad and a healthy kid. There wasn't supposed to be disabilities. He didn't like the disabilities because even though he was 15, so what if he was 15 and he liked anime? So what is common? Why does that matter? Even though he was 15. Oh, of course she did. Because she probably because of me and Clue.
Like, we have a Japanese restaurant here in Clarksville.
A lot of
that I
kids
will
are into
take
that.
them just to eat ramen.
Lots of kids.
But like, we'll spend all day watching Naruto. So just so when we go to dinner, he's in the, he'll want to go have ramen.
See, now a lot of kids got into that. They got into the Asian, culture because of anime and all that. Matter of fact, wasn't Seth seen wearing an anime shirt the first time? So do I. Listen, one of my favorite things right now is One Piece. Absolutely love it. What was so weird about that? Like, why is, even though he was 15, you're like 40 something coming out wearing an anime shirt? I don't get it. I know, I agree. Yeah.
Mhm.
He talks bad about her all the
He
time.
likes a lot of anime and cartoons, which
Gotcha. What is what does he absolutely dislike? Like, just without a doubt, like it's a no-go. Like, he just absolutely can't stand this.
boring movies.
Boring
Would
movies.
probably be his go-to. He doesn't like to watch
Hey, Shay B.
like
Probably.
old, I like Stargate movies, old Star Trek movies. He doesn't even like the old Star Wars movies.
It sounds to me like Seth did a lot of like let's sit in front of the TV, right? Rather that be through movies or video games. That's what it sounds a lot like. I don't know.
It's not new. He doesn't really like it if it's not his like generational thing. When he was growing up,
That's what it
he
is,
made
right,
a big
Lindsay?
deal every Christmas when a new Star Wars movie came out. Me and him, that would be a me and him night. We would go have dinner, and then we would go to the movie theaters, and we'd watch the first showing of the new Star Wars movies. And that was just one of the things that we did as a dad and son.
I have that beautiful memory.
Oh, the keyboard
I
again.
think I kind of glossed over some things, but like with Katie, how did that whole situation work out? When he was younger, because I did watch you. I think it was Jennifer Coffindaffer, and you were talking about that you took care.
That's what Betty couldn't wait to do. She couldn't wait to just give a negative. She wanted so badly to speak about Katie. Now listen, I don't know much about Star Wars by any means, but did they come out with new movies that often, like every Christmas type of thing? October 2021, 1999, 1980. I mean, I don't know. Again, I never really watched Star Wars. She mad at the keyboard. She's mad at the world. Betty's mad at the world.
Your son that she ended up after
Right?
his medical diagnosis went off to the Navy.
Not often.
How was that? What prompted that decision?
My son got really big into those Asian corn dogs. That's actually what he wants today is the Asian corn dogs covered in that hot Cheetos things. And that's because of social media, right? Like these kids, these things have become trends. Sounds like Seth wanted SR to like the things he liked and things Seth deemed appropriate and didn't like that SR had his own interests. That's interesting. Newer ones have come out. Okay. One's released by Disney. Rogue One was released December 2016, 2017. Okay. Thank you. This photo here is so weird. Like, why is Tony bigger than Seth here? It's weird.
I really don't want to say anything bad about his mom.
Oh.
But if you're not willing to do something along the lines of taking care of the child, you have to do something else.
Oh. I don't want to speak bad about the mother of my child, but if you're not going to take care of my son, it's actually tomorrow, Gary, but thank you. If you don't want to take care of my son, if you don't want to take care of the child, Lord.
To help with the family. And I was going to school full time. I was working full time, and I was taking care of the child full time.
Wow, that's a lot of full time. What was Katie busy doing? Again, all the full time in the world. You were just full.
Sleeps like a rock. She slept like a rock when she was with me. And like he'd wake wake up and scream, and it wouldn't matter if I had just had, 30 minutes of sleep or 2 hours of sleep. As soon as he would wake up, it's like, hey, are you gonna go take care of him this time? And no answer.
Wow. Wow. Okay. So she wouldn't be at, wow. Interesting, Seth.
I get up and I just go back to doing what needs to be done because it's not his fault he's awake.
It's not his fault he was
And
awake.
it got to the point that I had to drop out of school.
Oh.
And it was just like, then I talked to her and I tried to have one of those life.
Was Katie finished high school at this time, or was she still going to school as well?
Developing conversations where, you don't want to be in the career you're in 20 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
Still be doing it. So
Is it true that Chris helped you and encouraged you to get the job you're in?
if you do 20 years in something else, and you can retire
Mm.
and have a nice little, then you can go take all that education and learning and go do something else with your life too. And here we are 15 years later.
I know,
How
Kara
was
said.
Sebastian at meeting new people?
If he got a bad impression about you the first time, he didn't want to talk to you.
So he was good at reading people. Right. Okay.
How about sorry, I didn't mean to go. Did you want to finish that? Sorry.
If he liked you, then he would not put himself out there, but he would not hide. All right, because you had pretty much three different things. One, he would hide. Two.
So he is a hider. Okay. So he's a hider. Right? How many times have we heard that, Seth was under a neighbor's car, he was doing this, he was doing that. So he hides. Thank you so much, Shay B. Thank you. That's so sweet of you. Thank you. Let me turn this down a little bit. We got to beat the Beth's trying to, she wants, right. And you can tell she took some, that's me, Jason, in case Beth wants to try some funny. You could tell she took some of the stuff that was asked over there, Mama, for sure. Tomorrow, but thank you, Jason.
You'd be shy. Or three, he apprehensive. Like, I've watched him, and it's like, as he got older, it's like,
Thank
think
you.
he was cute or something? Yeah. Is that why you went out and shook her head and told her, what your name was?
What?
Yeah. Is that why did you think she was cute or something?
No. Hold on. Skirt. Stop the music. It is 2024. Can we get rid of that whole, if a boy's mean to you, it means he likes you. Can we drop that? Can we stop that? No. We're going to talk about that, Wood Fairy. We got a lot of flags to point out. A lot of flags.
Yeah. Is that why you went out and shook her head and told her, what your name was? Yeah.
So he'd shove a girl's head and say, my name's Sebastian. Why are you so odd, Seth?
Okay, well.
And look at Tony laughing. And then Seth, yeah, that's fine. That's okay, son. Next time, just punch her. She won't forget your name.
What your name was? Yeah. Okay, well, it's fine, son. Just keep it like a gentleman,
Oh.
Aw, he's starting to have crushes. I heard he had a big crush on Taylor Swift.
Thank you so much.
That's pretty much, he was a Swiftie. He liked her music and he liked to, I guess he liked to watch her videos and stuff.
He liked to watch her videos and stuff. Okay. So we know that for sure had internet access, right? Like to watch her videos and stuff. He was a Swiftie. You Swifties are wild out there. I'll tell you, Swifties are very wild. Mm-hmm.
How is Sebastian with changes in, like, say, his schedule? I know he was about to go to your house. I mean, how was all that?
That was past
What is
tense.
his behavior like?
At my house, it's routine. I really don't know too much about their house, but he was getting accustomed to it because every other week coming here or during vacation time.
Every other week come in here. You mean every other weekend come in here? Because was he there every other week or was it every other weekend? We've gotten inconsistent stories from the jump, so I don't know. Yeah, I didn't realize he said it past tense. He was a Swiftie.
And stuff. But I didn't have much of a schedule here.
I hope so, Emmy Joe.
Unless we
Thank
were
you.
doing things. Because if he was going to be here and he didn't have school, it's like, hey, you can't be up all night.
That's the opposite of what you told us last time there, Mr. Seth. Last time you said if Sebastian didn't have school and he wanted to be up all night, go ahead and be up all night, son. But don't forget you got things to do the next day. And then the next day I tell him, well, you got to learn the hard way. Anybody recall that? Put a 1 in the chat. Do we recall him saying that if he didn't have school the next day, he could stay up all night? Because kids have to learn the hard way. You remember, Brooke. You remember. Lots of ones are going to fly in this chat because he sure said that. They're only in weekends. There's no school to worry about. Good point, Remy. Good point. Bernie's cable bill. I just seen your name. Oh, I can attest to the sleep difficulties. My very high function child with autism never slept. Wouldn't nap as a baby to end up sleeping me. Oh, bless it. I can't imagine how hard that was for you, Miss Alenia. I just couldn't. I bet you that was hard. Lots of ones popping up. So you all remember that. We remember that, Seth. We remember.
No.
You
I have to work. You definitely need to be going to bed by like 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning. Work. You can't be up. You didn't have school. It's like, hey, you can't be up all night. I have to work. You definitely need to be going to bed by like 1 and 2 o'clock in the morning. I know you're watching TV and I know you're playing games on your Switch. And like, if I was at work, I'd just call him from work.
Oh, sounds very routine-y, right? So here he has it admitting that Sebastian would be left alone while he was at work. And if he was at work, if it was 1, 2 a.m., he would just call him from work and tell him he has to go to bed. So there's our answer. Sebastian was definitely left alone, unattended. His father says he had the mind state of a 10-year-old. He was left to his own devices, right? Literally left to devices, left to the Switch and the internet and Taylor Swift videos and, whatever it may be. Good morning, Nora.
See what he's doing.
Thank you so much, Juan.
Check in on him. And he knew that he needed to make sure his phone stayed charged, and then he needed to answer that phone when it rang, because it could either be me or his mom calling him.
Thank you so much. Wow, that's so sweet of you guys. I did receive Cash App after I ended yesterday, and I really appreciate it. Every bit helps. 2 big birthdays this year. It's exciting. So we did work the weekends. We heard differently, didn't we? It was very rehearsed. Seth was trying to turn Sebastian against Katie and Chris. He did run away from the pressure and stuff going on with Chris in the custody. I'm sure he heard adult conversations. Yeah. They are very similar, Charlotte. They are. I don't think he wanted to live with them either. The ass crack of dawn. Morning. Got morning.
How did he like trying new things?
Like food?
Well, I'm going to be asking you about food, but just new things, trying like maybe a new event, a new activity.
Oh, he was 15.
Well, I'm a creature of habit, so I don't really understand what you mean by...
It's not about you. She's asking about Sebastian. She's not asking about you. Nobody cares that you're a creature of habit. You have a habit of making everything about you, sir.
New things, trying like maybe a new event, a new activity.
Well, I'm a creature of habit, so I don't really understand what you mean by,
I guess like new, like would he, like if there was a new game, like if there was a new tag game or a new running game, would he be wanting to try it or no?
Not really here. As for playing tag or anything, it's really not a new game. That's just,
it's
it's an old game with a new twist.
It's tag. Like, tag's not new. They weren't playing tag when they were running from you, Betty.
Gotcha.
And
Now,
like
now's the
going
question.
to the park and stuff like that, he always loved to run. I mean, he liked to always play tag. Anything that got his blood pumping and him running around. When we were in California, I was teaching him how to play soccer. I drew the line at football. And I was just like, I can't have him have a head contact injury or something like that. And no. So.
Yeah, and I am going to dive into a little bit of his the stuff, but it's a little later in the show.
We got to follow the itinerary here. I got this all planned out because my boss gave me questions. It was a great interview, Em. It was. Left at home with Wi-Fi, but he didn't have any internet at his house, he said, but Wi-Fi is part of the internet. That's true, Colleen. He did answer. What he's saying is they mostly the same things when they were together. Yeah, they watch TV and play video games.
So now I guess the question is, what about food? You know, trying new food.
Oh, thank you
Well,
so much,
you know-
Deviled Eye. I appreciate that. Thank you.
If you don't like it, if you don't try it.
Is this the same question she's asked like 5 times now? His food?
Right.
Now, if you try it and you like it, that's good. But if you try it and you don't like it, at least you tried it. And that was
Right.
the whole point with him. Is
Thank you,
getting
Tammy.
him to realize that you can't say you don't like something just because somebody else said they don't like you. You got to be your own individual.
Oh,
So he is willing, but he is
so he wasn't his own individual. He copied other people. Is that what you're saying, Seth?
willing to try new food.
Just answer the damn question.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh. Now this is going to be one. How about changes in the weather? You know, I hear it's sensory issues.
Changing in the weather.
Could impact that. Do you?
Again, when he was here,
Changing in the weather. Okay.
we had thunderstorms and stuff. Like when
Oh.
we had the 2 tornadoes that hit Clarksville, the one on
Hey,
Fort
Lindsay.
Campbell Boulevard and the one on Tiny Town Road,
Mhm.
he was by my side the whole time. Like I went out front, smoked a cigarette, and I was like, well, that doesn't look good. And I was like, well, I'm going to walk back this way. At least I won't see it when it hits the front of the house. You know, Sebastian had already put on his boots and
Again, it goes back to him. I'm going to go to the back of the house.
everything because he was ready. Because I'd already told him, listen, we're in a tornado watch warning.
These are the questions we need at
Get
Day
everything
Tripper.
ready. I had the bathroom already prepared, you know, towels and stuff in the bottom of the tub, and so he could go in there and I could throw the mattress on top of him if necessary. And went to the backyard, saw them from coming down from Tiny Town Road. So it was kind of like, well, they're coming from both sides. I don't know
Praise be. You, sir, are a hero.
what to do, you know. And we went back to watching movies. Had the doors open so that we had a breeze coming through
Back
there.
to movies.
I mean, I grew up.
And he did well, huh?
Well,
That wasn't the fucking
It's like-
question. What are
I'm
we
not
doing?
worried, so why would he be worried?
Right.
They're tough ones.
Your children
Revival.
take a lot of their cues from you.
Yeah. Okay. She really does think she's a reporter. Listen, I'll give her some credit. She did okay, but these aren't the hard hitting questions. Jamal, you didn't get blocked in there. Hell, I got blocked left and right. They were mean.
What would cause, you know, because I've been reading a lot of his chromosome deletion as well.
Granny, think about this. Sebastian goes every other weekend. Seth works all night, then needs to sleep. So Sebastian spent the weekends alone. Seth knows nothing about him with no time spent together. Oh, right. And they get torn apart. For it. Betty was one of the critics to that. And then here they're doing like the same thing. Some questionable, some.
As autism, and you know there are things that trigger them that cause, you know, some mood swings or something like that. What would cause a mood swing or trigger an episode in Sebastian?
Every single time I'd write a comment, Mel, I would get attacked by the same 3 people. One was like Garbage Gal, and I'm like, yeah, that's fitting. And the other one's name was like Protected or something. Protected by her anonymity, I assume. But anyway, then the mob would just come up and be like, please be nice in the chat. And I'd get deleted. And I'm like, dude, my questions were very nice. I was asking legitimate questions. Like, can you tell us the last time you saw Sebastian? Does your spokesman speak?
Sometimes it would be like literally nothing that you would observe because everything's coming from his perspective. But stress is one of them.
Oh, you did.
I've seen him.
They was
in
after
hindsight,
us.
2020, but stress.
Normal things, Betty. Normal
Probably
things.
feeling like you're not in control of yourself. Like you have no control of your life.
No control. So things that would get him angry is he had no control over himself and no control over his life. Probably Tony Broken Bougie. False show. Thank you. Need to correct your statement from last night. You, my dear, are not chopped liver. Oh, Chica. I know. I was teasing. Thank you so much. Thank you. He was 15 years old. I mean, I think he had. Why am I blocked for life, Betty? Gosh, you're so rude.
What
My heart's
does he
broken.
have a problem with overstimulation? Like if he had an overexerting day, have you seen that trigger an episode in him at all?
This is what drives me nuts, right? Because Betty's like, I'm gonna do the hard hitting questions and no softballs here, and we want all the answers. And then she's like, you asked a hard hitting question, you're blocked for life. You got deleted too. I want to know Sebastian's phone at Seth was the same one as at Katie's, or was it a different phone? Why would that get blocked, Snark? That's a great question. I was going and trying to be normal question. It shows how serious this goes in controlling the public. Your facts, Jamal. I was very polite. So were you. We were all very polite. The 10-year-old grandson's mild autistic. He tries all food. If he doesn't like it, he'll tell you. He has a routine. He doesn't like changes. You're blocked now. You're all blocked. You're all blocked for life. Good morning.
I have seen him stay up for 2 days, 2.5 days straight from overstimulation.
Wow.
So it causes them to get in almost a manic type state?
The brain gets like, instead of, it's like the old fashioned tops, you give it a couple, 2 or 3, it spins, but when you break the gears on it, it doesn't stop. It takes.
What? If you break the gears, it does stop. Hey, Motor City. Okay, so there would be days where Sebastian would be up for like 2 days, right? So what do you think Katie was dealing with then? Because she had primary custody and Sebastian spent most of the time at Katie's house, majority of his time.
Forever for it to stop. I have
Full
seen
life.
him stay awake for 2 days here. He's gotten overstimulated before on road trips, and he'll stay awake for the whole road trip, coast to coast.
Wow.
They don't help at all.
I could use a driver like that. Just saying. Just saying.
I'm just, I can't even. We're not even going to go there. Trying to get him to actually get behind the wheel of the steering wheel for a vehicle for me to even teach him. Mm-mm. He's like, no, Dad, I don't want to do that. I'm like, you think I'm going to drive you around your whole life? He was like, I'm not going anywhere. So why do I need to drive?
Oh.
See, that's weird. I'm sorry, but it's weird. Because on one hand, you're telling us he had the mind state of a 10-year-old, and on the other, you're telling us you were trying to teach him to drive. Like, what you're going to have to, I don't know, you're not going to drive around there. I've never said to, like, my child, my daughter's going to be turning 18. I've never said to her, I'm not going to drive you around the rest of your life. Like, it's just, he's very odd. He's just odd. There's something, it could be Broken Bougie for sure. Purchase of what? Right. Can we get to the hard questions here? Meds, he's a nut. Won't even consider meds. Right, but he can take all the medications, right? He doesn't mind all the prescription things.
Aw.
I'm like, you going somewhere. Here's the keys. For work, you're going to have to do something.
Here's the keys. You're going to have to do
playing
something.
Magic the Gathering, you like buying these cards. You're going to have some way of supporting your habits.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. This is going to kind of go to the, events of the day before your son disappeared. After hearing the events that unfolded the day before, do you believe, based on what you...
7. So which one of you wanted to ask 5 different ways about food?
Heard that it was possible that your son was overstimulated?
Was it possible?
We had a very, very packed day. There was a lot of goings back and forth to the store, then back to the house, things like that. When he was at my house, he had the option of either staying here or going with me to the store. And I prefer.
See, so there we go again. He would leave Sebastian home alone. she didn't make him run around on all the errands. He enjoyed going to Costco. He enjoyed being out. She took him out into the world. He enjoyed that. Like, he's always looking for a way to make her look bad, but it's not working. It just makes you look bad, sir.
For him to go with me to the store, but there was times he was just like, Dad, I don't want to go. I don't want to leave the house. And it's like, okay, well, understand that if you don't come with me, I'm only picking things up on my list. There'll be no extras, nothing that, normally I would get you or anything like that, because you're not going to be there.
So if you don't come with me, I'm not buying you any of the things you liked because you didn't come with me. I don't know. He doesn't sound all that grand. I'm sorry. It just doesn't. He sounds kind of mean. Just sounds a little mean.
And he would think about it.
Hey, Goody.
And he would be like, okay, and either he would stay or he would go. If he stayed, then it was just literally run to the store, and I'm back in like 30 minutes.
Hey, Rachel.
If he went, back in like 45 minutes, and we may end up going out to dinner afterwards. But I like to take him with me because, like, what do you want to have for dinner tonight? And have him help pick out things for dinner. Getting him to voice his opinion and have his.
Okay, so I asked my kids before I leave to go food shopping, like, what would you like? What can I help you? Like, you know what I mean? Like, my daughter's starting to cook. She wants the Alfredo sauce and the fettuccine and all the things like that. So you tell me. Please tell me if you hear, let me out something at 1 after he blows his nose. Oh, I'll listen for it, kitty.
His own ideas.
Mm-hmm. What you brought up something that I didn't even think about on my list. So when you go to the store, what snacks? What kind of snacks did he like? Like, what was his favorite?
Betty wants to know all about the food. What kind of food? Like, tell me about the food. And she gets all giddy, like, the food. Right, or they can't get food. I never.
I don't know. Did he eat candy? What did he like?
Yeah, tell us about Sebastian, not you.
Really kind of depended on his mood on that one. Sometimes it was ice cream. A lot of times it would be like Debbie snacks. Like, he liked Nutty Bars.
You're a nutty
he loved
girl.
Zebra cakes and Swiss roll cakes. But it's like, I still have a box of his Fiber One granola bars up there in the cabinet. It's not open. He finished off one of his last ones when he was here. I've got his.
Deep breath, buddy.
Oh, it speaks. We're looking up his nose the whole show, but it speaks. That is sad though. Like, joking aside, I couldn't imagine how it feels. As sick of Seth as I am as well, Frankie's mom, I still couldn't imagine how he feels. It has to be hard. Booberry, thank you so much.
It's about to stop.
Thank you. Happy birthday,
Take your
Jason.
time.
As fabulous as you are. Oh, I can't wait to show him. Thank you.
Okay. Well, hello, Mr. Mathis. How are you doing this evening?
I'm fantastic. How are you?
I am doing, as good as expected in a situation like this.
At least Betty had more common sense. Like, your client just walked off the screen sad about the granola bars, and you're like, I'm doing fantastic. Such an honor to be here and have you all staring up my nostril. This was so fun.
But it's great having you. I just want to tell you thank you. Thank you for, speaking to me and, helping me with all of this. I really do appreciate it.
Sure.
Yep, I know, right?
While he's taking a little, break, maybe I'll just talk to you about some things. How have things been going with everything?
I agree with that, Brittany, but he doesn't have to put down Katie as a mother because he feels he didn't do his job as a father. He didn't have to do all that.
As far as working with Seth, it's been fantastic. I mean, you
fantastic.
Can't find a better human. I think a lot of the challenge has just been not understanding how people function in a situation like this. And I would think that when somebody's child was missing, that everybody would bond together, regardless of their feelings about any of the parents involved. I mean, you would think everybody would be kind of like 9/11, right? Where it didn't matter what side of the aisle you were sitting on. I mean, we were all Americans. Everybody.
Be like 9/11. You're comparing this to 9/11. You were so bizarre. This whole conversation has been about snacks. 7. Have you been listening? Or were you the one that asked to ask these questions? I don't understand. Like we've heard about food this entire talk. It keeps going back to food.
But it kind of bonded together. And you'd think when a child was missing, that's what you'd see. But
well, you know what you'd really think you see when a child is missing? Nanax, thank you. What you'd really think you see is not a man out here giving false information pertaining to a missing child's disappearance. That's what you wouldn't see. Nobody on J-Dub, thank you so much. Thank you. Not when you're an ex that flat out says he hates her. I can't believe this guy. He's just so bizarre to me.
In the words of another creator, it's out there in the streets. That's not the way it works. And that's been the biggest challenge.
In the words of Pascal,
I'm laser focused on taking care of Seth and helping him find his son. So as far as that goes, it's been fantastic. He's got a very small.
It's been fantastic. You haven't found his son, and you sure as hell haven't helped. Well, it's been fantastic, though.
Circle, but there's some wonderful people inside of that circle, and I talk to each of them every day, sometimes wee hours of the morning, and that part's been fantastic. So
yeah, it's been fantastic sitting on TikTok, hanging with all the people. It's been fantastic.
One thing that a lot of a town called Riverton, Kansas, need a lot of this talk about.
Oh, did you? I made one right before the show too. I made one right before the show. Sorry.
We got our coffee.
Slow chat down just a
They're
little
like,
bit,
what do you call them? Gremlins. Don't feed them after midnight. That's what Betty is. Don't give her coffee.
Again, Seth, I'm sorry. I know that this is probably
The way they
Don't be.
communicated was
I'm
just
sure you
It's not
feel
your
like you're going
fault.
through a meat grinder.
It's when I say it's a never-ending nightmare, it is. I just want everything to be the way it was.
Oh, excuse
Last time he
me.
was here, but when he comes back,
Oh, excuse me.
Betty, these kind of questions are tough on Seth,
Yeah.
but quite frankly, Seth will be the first one to tell you that this is
Asking his son's favorite snacks is tough on him. Lord have mercy, it's tough on him. Loosen up a little bit. Back it up, Betty. These questions are too tough. Back it up.
the type of stuff that he wants people to hear, and this is truly what he wants to talk about.
there's so much stupid fucking drama, and it's
They went to, I don't think they went to BJ's. I think they went to Costco.
it's not helping me find my son.
It's not
And
helping you. Thank you,
get
Kelly.
into that a little bit further down. I can't even.
I can't even go off my list. So you got to back it up, Seth. I don't care about your real feelings here. I have a show to put on. That's not until later in the interview. Slow down.
Remotely imagine what you're going through dealing with a missing child, but all the other stuff going on that's just unnecessary. I mean, there's a time. I always talk. There's a time and a place for everything. This isn't the time. This isn't the place. And
It's never the time.
Listen, as you're very welcome here, but we're going to be realistic to what we're hearing. We're hearing about food. If you're going to put down the Proudfoot for telling everybody Sebastian's favorite snacks, then at least you can do is acknowledge 35 minutes into this, all we've heard about is food. That's just being fair.
Time and never the place for a kid to go missing.
but I'm talking about the other nonsense.
I try my best to ignore most of it.
Purchasing
Probably
it.
the best thing you can do. I
Oh,
mean, like,
pew,
even
pew.
right now, I got my list of questions over the comments to just praying to God that everybody's being good over there. You know?
I'm not even after being on another particular podcast or so.
This is how these people are. They deep in their heart, including myself, it is more drama, right? Betty is a drama woman. So when these people get on, they say the dumbest things, like, I just hope the chat's being nice to you. Her, her, her. Take a look, Seth.
I don't even see your comments.
Good,
I don't
good.
even have them up.
Yeah, I'll be doing a Q&A and I'll be kind of vetting the comments before we go over them. And we've got so many questions here, and I've got questions for my mods and a couple of questions that were sent to me for some, and I don't want to keep you all night,
Same.
but I do want to get through a few.
Well,
of
I'm
these
pretty sure
things.
you can try to keep me all night. I sleep.
Yeah, well, I'm sure even when you do have an opportunity to get sleep, your brain probably doesn't shut off. So,
It doesn't.
so this is going to be, I don't know, this is going to be a little bit different.
Where's these hard-hitting questions? Can we get to them?
You asked for a kind of, I don't know how, I'm just going to be blunt. You asked for basically a proof of life video from law enforcement because you had not spoken to your son since the Thursday before he went missing. So you didn't speak to him Friday. He was out Saturday with his mom, Sunday.
So let's talk about that, right? Oh, what did I just do?
I'm not going anywhere. So
He didn't speak to his son. What the hell did I just do? He didn't speak to his son until that Thursday, right? So I mentioned in the chat, like, is there a reason you didn't see your son for up to 6 weeks before he disappeared? And somebody responded back and told me to clean out my ears and brush my snaggly teeth. Because he said he saw Sebastian on Thursday. No, he didn't. He did not.
why do I need to drive? You think I'm going to drive you around your whole life? He was like,
Oh, wait, that's what
I'm
I
not
did.
going anywhere. So why do I need
And we'll get into that even, but all the other place for
to
everything.
keep thinking this? Best thing.
So just
After being on another particular podcast or show, I don't even see your comments. I don't even have them up.
Yeah,
Low.
I'll be doing a Q&A and I'll be kind of vetting the comments before we go over them.
Brush
And
my
we've got so many
snaggly
questions
teeth.
here, and I've got questions from my mods and a couple of questions that were sent to me for some, and I don't want to keep you all night, but I do want to get through a few.
Well,
of
I'm
these
pretty sure you
things.
can try to keep me all night. I sleep.
Yeah, well, I'm
I'm
sure.
pretty sure you keep him all night. Look at Tony. Uh-huh. Look at this big photo of Tony here.
Or
Uh-huh.
even when you do have an opportunity to get sleep, it's your brain probably doesn't shut off. So
I know.
It
Jason,
doesn't.
it was funny.
So
The
this
Seth
is gonna be,
show.
I don't know. This is going to
Dun-dun-dun-dun.
be a little bit different. You asked for a kind of, I don't know how, I'm just going to be blunt. You asked for basically a proof of life video from law enforcement because you had not spoken to
Jelly
your
bean.
son since the Thursday before he went missing. So you didn't speak to him Friday. He was out Saturday with his mom, Sunday, and then Monday he wasn't there. And so law enforcement
Betty said I'm blocked for life.
did bring you, brought you in and talked to you about the
Pillow
White
talk.
House video, and you got an opportunity to see your son walk out of the restaurant. Can you tell me what was the first thing that you noticed when you saw that video?
Why'd you have to point that out? Now that's all I'm seeing. Tony is over there like ding, 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 ding.
He's alive. It was literally just a proof of life video.
Look at me.
What was his demeanor like?
There wasn't enough for me to tell.
How about the clothes that he was wearing? Were those, I think you've already answered this, but just for my clarification.
Chris
were
answered that question.
Huh?
Chris answered that question.
What did Chris say? I
Chris
must
said
have
that they used his clothes from the night before for the send-off.
Okay, gotcha.
How's that? It wasn't even the question. The question was what was he wearing? Hey, Angel. Okay, but Chris answered that question.
Did
Chris.
anything appear odd or out of place when you were looking at that video?
Didn't pay that much attention. I was just happy to see that.
Gotcha.
Do I wish
So-
I had? Yes. Do I wish
Riceness?
I had that video so I could sit there and just look at it? Yeah. But
Chris answered it.
I'm not law enforcement in this case.
You're not law enforcement in any case. You're not law enforcement. Relax.
I'm a suspect.
Yes, you are.
And you have not been caught.
No, he has not.
Nobody has.
So remember that. Remember that. When these people are buddying up with Seth and they're doing pillow talks and they're late nights on the phone and they're asking for pew-pews, this man is still a suspect. He is still a suspect. They text everyone, say they know what to say, from texting Seth to texting the players in chat is sick because of the fact that this is a missing child. You're so right, Jamal. Right, Sparrow. Right.
If you had a list,
I think it's kind of hilarious,
He mentioned it.
But-
Yep.
you know.
It's hilarious.
actually, I'm going to kind of go on a little tangent here. But just to clarify, where do you work?
I work for Davidson County Sheriff's Office,
And what is your job or your job title?
deputy sheriff, and I work in the corrections department.
Deputy Sheriff of the Corrections Department. Deputy Sheriff. Half my keyboard isn't working again. What did you tell me to do last time, AT? Oh, gee golly. Y'all had a voicemail BHB left for Chris. I didn't. Where can I hear it barking at the moon?
And where were you the night that Sebastian disappeared?
At work.
And you said you were at
Downtown Correction Center.
and so you were at a jail.
I was in jail.
So you were
He was in jail.
in jail. And I'm sure there's probably, with it being a jail, it's a very secured area.
Oh, yes. I am on camera arriving at 6 p.m. into the garage, which is a secure garage. You have to have badge access to get in or out. And then I'm leaving at like 7:30 the next morning, exiting out of the garage.
If
That's
you had to
good.
list Sebastian's favorite activities to his least activities, which would those be?
Favorite activities?
I think I already know the answer to that.
That didn't work.
Well, again, it really kind of depends on his mood, because here, I'd say
That didn't work. I did not fix the keyboard. Actually made it worse. I now can't use half the keyboard again. This is ridiculous. Betty is wearing her Sunday best, little Shawnee. Deputy sheriff, and he works in the sheriff's office. That is not true.
his least favorite activity is going to bed, but his favorite activity is sleeping.
Wow. His favorite activity is going to bed, and his least favorite activity is sleeping. He was never sheriff deputy. Seth would not know what Sebastian likes. Her court attire.
Interesting. I was rolling the dice on video games and cleaning his room.
His room is actually, when they came in on Monday, that he disappeared, they trashed his room. Flipped mattresses over, took sheets and blankets and stuff off of his bed, went through his stuff. And I told them when they came in, I said, listen, his room is probably a mess. You know, just bear with it. And when they walked in, they were like,
That's the last thing I would care about if my child was missing. Is to say, like, oh, you know, the room's a mess. I used to support her no more. She bashed JLR. Someone says she wants Seth. Seth will oblige. No, Seth is a parking garage attendant. I thought he didn't sleep. Good. Yep.
like, his room is cleaner than my kid's room. Well, needless to say, when they left my son's room, it was like he'd been in there a week and never left. And it took me a minute just to go in and clean up this room.
Oh.
Put everything back where he had it.
10 middle fingers.
But he doesn't like cleaning his room.
Shift.
Very rarely does it. If it's, you just get him to understand that if you pick it up and you put it away, when you're done playing with it, you know where it's at when you want to play with it again. And, you know, when he's awake, he loves playing with his Legos. He'd be underneath the bed playing on his little Nintendo Switch thing.
Wait a minute. He'd like to be under his bed. Let's rewind that.
I was playing with his Legos. He'd be underneath the bed playing on his little Nintendo Switch thing.
What are some of Sebastian's allergies? We hear a lot about he's got some allergies.
He's allergic to grass. That's about it.
Gotcha. Well, I guess that would be kind of medical. I was gonna say, because I don't know why I was thinking about like medication and 50s.
Oh, HIPAA. We're not
I know. That's what I was about to say. Better be careful. Huh? I'm skating a little too close.
I mean, hold on, wait a minute. I don't have a PhD and I don't have a doctorate in the medical field, so I can't violate HIPAA.
Yeah. Wow. When Sebastian's
I'm allergic to grass myself.
That was such a jab at Chris. That was absolutely a jab at Chris. He only knows that because Katie said it. Right, the grass. Yeah. What's his medication? The medication he didn't give him. Because I want to respect GW and Chasen's chest. I'm really holding back. Mods, please tell me to shut the fuck up if it's too much. Layla, you are good.
And they mowed the yard today.
Oh. Don't worry about it. We'll forgive you.
Ew.
Maybe I should mute. Maybe I should just mute you just a little bit. Hold on. There we go.
That was definitely a jab towards Cluminati because she said he never cries or, blows his nose, and then all of a sudden he's blowing his nose and he's taking jabs at Chris. Like the immaturity level is unbelievable here. It's very, very immature.
There you go. Are you cleaned out?
Yeah. Currently. That means a different thing in the medical field. It also means something different in jail.
So when Sebastian stays with you, what does a normal weekend look like for you guys? What do you? So
it also means something. Yeah.
There we go. Maybe I should. Don't worry about it. We'll forgive you.
That means a different thing in the medical field. It also means something different in jail.
So when Sebastian stays with you, what does a normal weekend look like for you guys? What do you do for fun?
Well, I pick him up Friday. It's depending on traffic, an hour and a half drive to get back up here.
Mm-hmm. Hour and a half drive.
Sometimes even longer, depending on what direction we go, depending on how his day went. Sometimes I'll let him pick the route. Do you want to take the interstate? Do you want to take the highway? Or do you want to take the back roads? I mean, after time change, with it not getting dark until after 8 o'clock, time change, we normally would take the back roads. There's been times that we've seen a lot of deer and turkey and stuff as we're driving back, which I don't understand that anyways, because he would be playing his video games and not paying attention to the road anyways. But, I mean, come back up here, get up here with enough time. If I'd already had everything planned, I'd already have stuff in the back of my truck, tackle boxes, chairs, fishing poles. We'd just go straight on through and head over, go fishing at the high school, or go up to Yellow River, go fishing up there. I always enjoyed that. Pick up some food on the way up, or I'd already have like bread, sliced meat, and cheese to go ahead and make sandwiches. Pick up graham crackers, marshmallows, and chocolate. Making the s'mores is always fun.
This is probably going to be a little more difficult, but what has been the most difficult part of you dealing with your son's disappearance?
You hear that?
No.
TV's not on. He's not playing video games. Nobody goes in his room. His light's not on. He's not coming to ask me what I'm doing. He's not asking me to play card games. He's not here. He's just not here. I don't know where he's at. Oh. I don't know where my son is.
I can't even imagine. It's so hard for me to try, and I'm trying to stay away from the drama during the interview, but some days it's just so hard for me to understand how people can be mean to this man.
Oh, please, Betty.
I don't get it.
Oh, please. Oh, please. You don't get it? The same way you could be mean to the mother of the missing child. It's the same way. What do you mean you don't get it? It's all you try to stay away from the drama. You don't try to stay away from the drama. You've been begging for this man to speak on Katie and Chris the entire time. Stay away from the drama. BS.
I don't know if I really don't know if I will quite, ever get that. I'm just.
Why we lose our minds once in a while.
Lose our minds once in a while, please.
So this is.
My house is not a home. He should be here. School's already out. He should be here.
Whose doorbell keys ringing?
Enjoying summer break.
Whose keyboard?
He was going to be moving into your house this time. Like he was supposed to be coming to you and living with you full time, like right about now.
Which is crucial if you think about it. The only big change set to happen was that Sebastian was set to go live with his father and go to online school. Sit up all night on video games on his new computer, putting out information that's fake. Fact. How is it possible that a man who was out searching every day has... Ooh.
Several days ago, 2 weeks ago.
Right, mother of two boys.
He had been there. He had been out of that situation, and he'd never have to go back.
Oh, I fixed my keyboard.
Now, this is kind of another dovetail. You know, you
Ducktail.
had received reports. You can't. I know you can't discuss the.
I don't know if it's a ducktail, but you sure are a quack. I think he ran away because he didn't want to live with his father. I mean, it makes the most sense. It just does. Was she shopping for cocktails? She's dressed so strangely.
Maybe you can answer this.
His laughs, the silly
Were
jokes,
you
you know.
shocked about what you read in the reports? Can you answer that?
He said it himself, my crime time.
I was.
This is where...
Hello, Moto.
Turn your fucking moto off, sir. We got doorbells ringing and phones turning on. What is going on?
Okay.
I
And
was
I know
even
that.
shocked more when my name's not on any of the reports.
Well, look at this.
Okay.
Seth's going to scratch and now Tony's going to scratch. Do you think these two have like subliminal system? Like, you know what I mean? Are they talking to each other? Do you guys see what I'm... Watch. Let's see.
Hello, Moto.
Okay.
I
And
was
I know
even
that.
shocked more when my name's not on any of the.
Tell me that's not a symbol. Tell me that's not a symbol. Right? That they're symbolizing to each other. They are speaking to each other right now. 3 CPS reports, my crime time. 3.
reports because they didn't bother to call me.
Yeah, and that's been a because you had. I mean, I want the audience to understand.
Hello, Moto.
It is
Or-
rude. They're both rude.
Yeah, Betty, I think it was just as big of a shock as to the fact that they didn't notify him as to what was inside those reports.
Yeah, I have a problem.
You know what I have a problem with? I have a problem with every one of you has CPS reports against you. That's what I have a problem with. It's a sign, right? Absolutely a sign.
With that too. I don't know, a father that has joint custody, I don't understand why he wouldn't be immediately notified.
Hit the
that
thumbs up,
information was
please.
withheld from.
Especially if you think it's a sign.
Sometimes they don't have those details.
I mean, if he had no custody whatsoever, no custodial rights, is the only way it makes sense to me.
Right.
Is it-
And he had to hire an attorney to go get those records, didn't he?
He did.
What if the records were against Seth? What if the phone calls were made by Katie against Seth? Maybe that would be why. It is such a messy case of
He
shame.
did.
I did have to hire an attorney to get those records pushed through to get to me.
You sure did. Oh, do you believe in love on a YouTube panel? He knew it was in his reports because he was the one reported 3 times. That's what I'm saying, my crime.
The only thing I can say to those records is
Look
that
at that. That was twinning. Oh,
those
ooh.
records pushed through to get to me.
Oh, sugar. Tony gives him a few different signals. I thought so too. She definitely has a crush. Look, his picture right here. Look at that.
The only thing I can say to those records is that there is a statement stating that the only place he felt safe was here.
The only place he felt safe was
I
there.
want you getting yourself in it.
Somebody riddle me that. The only place he felt safe was there. Really? The only place he felt safe was there? I'm not buying it. She didn't have a cocktail dress to wear, apparently. But I am not buying it. I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
To a legal quagmire. So I'll let you speak about what you're comfortable speaking about, but just
I can't really mention anything about him. Lord help me if DCS contacts my attorney one more time. I already told her what to do if they contact her one more time.
So his attorney's now a female because he already told her what to do, right? And if DCF contacts her one more time, because you don't shut up, Seth Rogers. They are contacting your attorney because you were willing to go ahead and put out CPS records pertaining to your minor son on the internet. And they had to call you to tell you to not put it out.
I'm not speaking about them. I'm not giving them out to anybody.
Right.
Tony already told us that you two have spoken about it, and you're speaking about it right now.
You know,
Yeah, and you're not doing anything to violate the confidentiality. You're happy to have those reports. At the end of the day, you now know what happened, or
I
what is
agree.
alleged to have happened, at least for whatever incidences those cover.
it's more insight. It's more insight in figuring out what was going on.
Yep, you
Because
sure did.
it's obvious that the communication that was given to me wasn't proper communication.
Proper
Have you ever
communication.
been contacted by DCS at all? Ever?
Let's talk about it. At all? Ever? Have you ever been contacted? Have you ever had contact with child services? Now, Betty, you're asking some questions.
In the past?
Not
Related to
here.
your son?
Not here.
Not here. I'd had it at CPS in California.
And can you share what that was related to? Or is that
My son,
Put a 1 in the chat if you recall me saying that there were CPS reports against Seth and I was called a liar. I was cruel. I was making it up. How could you say that? You're lying. There's no reports. And here we're going to hear it from the man himself. Finally, all these weeks later, we are going to hear him finally admit that CPS was contacted against him.
went to school and told his teacher that I beat his ass.
Oh, went to school and told the
when
teacher I beat his
CPS
ass.
showed up. I was like, I told him
That's
to
a
clean his
one.
room or I was going to bust his butt. Did you bust his butt? No, he cleaned his room.
So you mean to tell me Sebastian did to you exactly what he did to Chris? He went in and told the teacher. Let's not forget that while he was over in California, Sebastian was under the age of 7. Okay? 7. Under the age of 7.
There was the threat of a butt whooping,
Mm.
you know? And he was like, well, he said that you were going to beat him. And I'm like, wow, okay. So when he came home, I literally turned on Mortal Kombat and I turned the blood action on.
So his son comes home. He turns on Mortal Kombat. Okay, to show him a blood action out of Mortal Kombat,
And I showed him what a beatdown was
and I showed him what a beatdown
in
was
video games.
in
I
video
was like, you
games.
see all that blood and everything, son? That's a beatdown. I was going to bust your butt.
Where are all the people to say he was a disabled child? You don't do that. This is a beatdown. Here's this bloody scene out of this video game down. This is a beatdown. I was just going to bust your butt. I was just going to bust your butt.
Come on. Really?
Really?
He was like, I'm sorry, Dad. And I'm like,
I'm sure he said, I'm sorry. Do you know how terrifying that would be? Let's not forget him on panel with Trevor Lee where he's screaming, boy! I told you, boy! We're supposed to believe you sat him down all nonchalant after CPS was contacted. You sat him down and you said, look here, son. Here's this horrible video bloody scene of a game.
there's no reason to be sorry. It's educate yourself on the verbiage and the words that you use, because you can blow things out of proportion.
Educate yourself, he says, on the verbiage that you use. Educate yourself.
Educate yourself on the verbiage and the words that you use.
On the verbiage and the words that you use. Educate yourself. How shocked will you be to find out he's talking to a 5-year-old child, a 5-year-old disabled child, a 5-year-old. He's telling us all this boy didn't even know the letter S. That's how young he was.
Because you can blow things out of proportion and not even realize what you're doing. So
Do you think that might, because of some of these things in the past where he did blow them out of proportion, do you think that, maybe some of these things were either blown out of proportion or do you believe that, because that was a long time ago when you...
Oh, you don't say, Betty. Do you believe that maybe he blew things out of proportion recently? Is that what you're saying? Right. Clean your room or I'm going to bust your butt. Bust your ass. Scary enough that this child runs to school and tells the teacher that he's afraid at 5 years old. The licks with the belt given by Seth back in November. They're the ones they don't want to talk about, my crime time. We're going to have to wait another 3 months for Seth Rogers to admit to those ones.
He was in California. How old was he? Like 7, 8?
Most of those were, he wasn't. It was, I want to say 5 or 6.
5 or 6 year old baby. 5 or 6 year old disabled child. That's a baby, Dolly. Where's the baby? That's a baby. And he's going to school telling his teacher he's afraid.
Gotcha.
You
So
know, he was
just
only
really
going to
didn't know.
school for a half a day,
Gotcha.
you know, which was only a couple of hours.
Mhm. I want to ask you about this because I didn't quite hear this, but my audience and my mods had brought it up to me that you had indicated that your son had some type of brain ailment that you guys learned of, either fluid on the brain or...
He had a pocket of fluid on the right bilateral part of his brain. It's been there since he was born. You have to watch him, make sure he doesn't suffer any head injuries or anything like that. It was too big for them to put a
stent?
A stent. It was too. It was not big enough to put a stent in, but still big enough to actually cause damage if he had. That's why I didn't want him in football.
Right.
I didn't want him putting on a helmet and go.
I didn't want him put on it, but that's understandable. 5 or 6 showing videos of blood and beating a child. That's abuse alone. Never mind. I'm sure he did. Oh. Who defines a beatdown to their child? Who shows a video game explaining this is bad, what I do to you is not? What are we hearing here? Good point, Explorer. Good point.
Going, head first into something, because anything that might cause damage to his head is not something like I want my buddy to be safe.
When you heard Katie indicate that there was a potential thud coming from his room with the knowledge of his head injury,
Back to Katie.
how does that make you feel?
With his head injury, you hear a thud and you automatically think, like, what do you want him wrapped in a bubble?
If I had heard it in my house, I'd have been in my son's room to find out what was going on.
Well, you live in an apartment, so, a little different there.
If I hear any kind of strange noise coming out of his room, wherever room he happened to be in, any room, period, I'm going to go find out what that noise is, verify, see what's going on.
Verify. He's going to verify. You know what's the truth? You want it, Seth, because you'd be at work. Because Sebastian was left alone.
The fact that she would say that there was that type of noise and not go check on him.
Do you know how many noises come out of my kids' rooms? If I went and checked every little noise, oh my goodness, I'd have to stand there all night. I mean, they're teenagers.
To me, it's not proper parenting.
Right, Megan. It's not proper parenting.
Based
Lord.
on your knowledge of your son's behaviors, do you believe he would have left the house in the middle of the night?
Different scenarios go through my head. For him to leave and not have his shoes, coat, take the switch or his phone, stuff that I know that he'd want with him if he was going to run away.
Why every time he says something like this, he puts his hands on his head in the same format that Chris Watts did? Now, it just happens to be known as like the Chris Watts stance. It doesn't really, I'm not saying it means he's lying or anything, but why is it every time it comes to something like this, he puts his arms like that? I would love for one of the behavioral analysts to analyze him. They've analyzed Chris and Katie, now analyze Seth Rogers. I want to know what these mean.
No. But for him to leave without shoes or anything else on there,
it's a tell, isn't it?
The situation would have to be severe enough for him not to be able to grab that stuff.
Like maybe, I don't know, like you said, he had a high packed day. Maybe he was having an episode. He overheard something. He got scared. He ran out. Maybe he knew he was set to come live with you and he's terrified of you. I don't know. Could be many things. Could be many things. Hands
So,
back down.
based on the information that I know about my son and the
I
story
do
that is
too.
being told by his mom, for him to have left between the times of
Hey, Brett.
falling asleep
Hey, Jonathan.
and 6 o'clock in the morning
Thank you, Brandy.
is straight bullshit.
It's straight bullshit. It's straight bullshit. Now, you just got done telling us your son would stay awake for days, and now you're saying it's straight bullshit. Okay. Okay.
And she knows that's how I feel about it.
No, that
Have you
comes up.
been
He had
involved or
3.
heard of any other incident where he disappeared or got lost in the past?
Never.
Betty,
Is there?
I will tell you that I had
Hmm.
a private conversation initially with CP and KP, and I asked them very directly, and I know there's been some contradictions, but I asked them if it was normal for him to just walk out of the house regardless of the time of day, and they both in unison said absolutely not.
Oh, wow, Tanny. You don't say. Of course it wasn't
Pretty
obvious.
interesting.
What?
Is there a special spot that Sebastian loved to go that you're aware of?
Up here,
Anywhere there, near their house, near your house?
that
See, that's what I've come to notice about Seth. And if you go back to the very beginning, he said when Katie and Chris had Sebastian, it was their time, right? And that when he had Sebastian, it was his time. It sounds to me like Seth only cared about Sebastian when it was Seth's time with him. Like, oh, his favorite spot here or there. Like he wanted Sebastian to have different life. He wanted that. That's what it sounds like to me. Like he doesn't know, what he liked over there, what he ate over there, where his favorite spot was, but over here I can tell you. Oh, let me check. Thank you so much. I'm sorry. Cash App won't let me log on to it on my new phone, so I don't get alerts. I'm sorry. Do you guys know what I'm saying? Like, it just sounds like he tried to keep it all separate. It's weird to me. Very weird to me.
there, I don't know. Up here, the park that I've done 2 or 3 interviews at, he loves to play there. He likes to go to the pond over by the high school, which is a 45-minute trip in my truck, and Yellow River, which is clear out in Palmyra. So, but would he know how to get out to those areas?
Right.
And I've been out there. I've been out there along the rivers looking.
You've been out there along the rivers looking? I got J-Dub. There's one. Oh, Melissa, that's actually really cute. Thank you. I didn't know Cash App could do that. I can't wait to show my son. Thank you for that. It helps a lot. So thank you. Sincerely, thank you. He refused to parent and purposely went against. Right, that's how I feel. Thank you so much, What the Crack. Thank you. That is exactly how I feel. Like he intentionally and purposely tried to be different than what Katie and Chris were doing. And you're going to hear that as this goes on. You will absolutely hear that.
I'm really sorry. I don't.
Thank you, Miss L. Thank you so much.
Just want to find my son. Just want to bring him home.
Oh, thank you, J-Dub. That was really sweet. Thank you.
When you learned of Sebastian's, many medical issues and disabilities, what did the doctors instruct you guys to do as parents to properly care for your son?
Now, I'll tell you, so you just said about support outside of his parents. We've seen a fantastic photo of him with his teachers. He looks very, very well. He looks comfortable. He looks like he feels safe. He's smiling. We've seen him with the trophies. Sebastian had a lot of support. He went to regular school. He had classmates. He had teachers. He was involved in activities. I don't know. Imagine what this childhood for those 2 weekends out of a month. Listen how he speaks about Katie, the entire internet. Right. And then you're going to hear him say that Katie would badmouth him to Sebastian. Please.
They didn't instruct us to do anything.
They didn't instruct us to do it. Katie did all of that.
Hmm.
Katie was
So
involved
was
in
it
all
like any
that.
special classes or anything that you guys had to that they recommended or anything like that?
Well, Sebastian
When you listen to Katie talk, the way she talks about Sebastian's therapy and speech classes, she was the one involved in all of that.
was in. Sebastian went to a lot of classes we didn't. He had speech therapy. He had speech therapy. He had fine motor control classes. He had gross motor control classes. You name it, whatever it was I could get him into, I got him into.
Oh, you got him into it?
I mean,
You got him
anything-
into it?
going to California was the worst mistake in the world because their education system sucked.
You say that all the time. This is a great point. Seth said he didn't have a phone at work, so how did he call Sebastian at 1, 2 a.m.? Very good point. He would leave Sebastian home alone, and yet he didn't have his phone on him at all times. And how far away was Katie? I truly believe Seth until I heard he asked T-Rev to buy that gun. In my opinion, Tony and Seth want to blackmail T-Rev. They did the same thing to Trevor Lee. They tried to blackmail him. Same exact situation. Sounds to me like they're trying to get everybody a little something from somebody in their pockets to hold against them later. You heard T-Rev say that Tony said, I got all these creators' records. No, he works in a jail. They're not allowed to
First
have
year
their phones.
that he was there, they literally taught him the letter S.
Mm.
Like, my son knows the whole alphabet and he can count 1 to 10. Why are you just having him do S?
Right.
Why is it because y'all suck?
Well, that's weird. I thought I heard him say last time that his son couldn't do the letter S, but I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Everything that man does talks about everything. Everything he says, absolute BS and lies. Go back to your crazy ex-wife, buddy. No one wants to hear your crazy BS, you delusional little coward. Why did she ask Revival? Great question. I had a friend with 2 homes and she dreaded going to the weekend home. We stay out late playing, hoping she'd miss it. We didn't know a court ordered the weekend visit. She never got out of it. Oh, new account.
Yeah, that's California. They're, I didn't know.
California.
Their education was, I don't know why I didn't consider their education.
Off topic, No Child Left Behind was handled the wrong fucking way.
Mhm.
All right. Instead of just passing kids to get them through class so their numbers look good, they should have hired more teachers.
Let me tell you something. They should have hired more teachers. Do you know how underappreciated, underpaid our teachers are? Just for every parent in the audience right now, learning always starts and ends at home. If you feel like your school is not doing enough, you feel like the teachers aren't teaching enough, you teach. It always starts and ends at home. Don't rely just on the school.
So you had a higher teacher to student ratio.
Mhm.
That way the children would learn.
Yep.
Then no child's left behind.
He got
And everybody gets a decent education.
juicy phone calls.
Sorry.
That's okay. You had
You solved it all right there, Seth. You solved it all.
a lot of problems, like even with the type of classes your son needed in California. I think I heard you say that Georgia was the best, or was it just the opposite? You hated Georgia.
Oh, Georgia was extremely horrible.
Okay, got it.
Listen to him. Everybody's horrible. Everybody failed. Everything is bad. The school sucked. The therapy sucked. The mother sucks. Everything sucked. Seth is just the best of that. The end all be all. He's just, nobody can match up to Seth's perception of great or good. Everybody sucked. The landlord sucked. The ex-roommate sucked. Everybody sucked.
Georgia's where they sat there and
cops
told
suck.
me, won't your son just grow the chromosome back?
Oh,
Like
is that what they
he's a fuck-
said?
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot. I'm one of the lizard people, and don't worry, my eyes blink regular, but he'll grow back his chromosome. Like
No, Georgia said. Did you know Georgia said? Now, please.
a lost fucking limb. I mean,
Oh
the
my goodness.
best place ever was Kansas.
Nice.
Kansas was
That's
nice,
kind of,
though.
actually, to be honest with you, Kansas is not really. Wouldn't have thought of that. To be honest with you.
They have a facility in the town where he was from, Betty, and it's really good.
They have a facility in a town he was from, Betty, and it's really good. What, 45 years ago? Kansas. Is anybody checking to see if Sebastian's in Kansas? I feel like there are things that these two say that we really need to pay attention to. Is this where you were telling me to listen, Kitty? I did not hear it. Let me try it again.
Best place ever was Kansas.
Nice. That's kind of, actually, to be honest with you, Kansas is not really, wouldn't have thought of that.
It did sound like somebody was talking, but I can't tell if that's just the way he's blowing his nose. I don't get it. A chromosome would grow back. Anyone notice Seth mostly speaks on his time with Sebastian before Tennessee? I sure do, because I don't think he was much involved afterwards, Explorer. Sure do.
To be honest with you.
They have a facility in the town where he was from, Betty, and it's really good.
Oh.
Gotcha.
In Riverton.
Riverton,
I feel so bad for
Kansas.
Seth. I'm really sorry. I'm glad you're there. I'm glad you're here, keeping him, at least nothing more. He sees a friendly face when he looks up.
Yeah, he looks so friendly.
Talking about it's not easy, but he would much rather be talking about this stuff.
Who's braiding?
This is what he wants to be talking about. It's not easy.
Who's braiding Seth's hair? Because there's no way with his shoulder he can do a braid. You ever try to braid your hair by yourself? After a while, your arms start to hurt. There's no way he's doing that, but whatever. That was just a little side note.
But he would much rather be talking about this stuff than some of the other BS.
Yeah.
Talking about this stuff. Talking about what? How horrible everybody is and how he's so grand.
Yeah. Was your son, was he going to be a person that was going to need lifelong assistance?
Good chance and possibility.
Good chance and possibility.
Gotcha. And prior to this whole disappearance,
Did that ruin your idea of the nuclear family? Seth hit Sebastian in the head at the school. Yep.
what was your relationship like with the Proudfoots, with Katie and Chris?
I'm not an easy person to get along with. But
there it is, right? He right there just said, I'm not an easy person to get along with. I'm not an easy person to get along with. As if nobody couldn't tell that already. It is the Seth show. Everything is me. If you don't do what this man wants you to do, you are an enemy to him. You're suddenly the op. Doesn't matter how good you've been to him. Right, Trevor Lee, shocker. He has put down every single person who has tried to help him because they don't do it the way he wants it done. He even says, I'm the boss. I'm the boss. And this is where we're going to get interested. This is where I'm going to get worked up.
But neither is my ex-wife. The divorce was kind of horrible. I mean,
kind of horrible.
She accused me of some nasty things.
Did she?
And when the divorce initially happened, I had an attorney. And pretty much he told me that.
Let me guess, the attorney sucked too?
Play dirty and take everything from her.
The attorney told him, we got to play dirty and take everything from her. Why didn't either? Right. Past tense. Hey, Stephanie. Maybe Seth didn't really want him 26 days a month. He didn't. Because when they asked him to take Sebastian last year, he said, I'll give him another year to get his act right. That him coming to live with me was punishment. Seth himself has said this.
And I was like, that doesn't help our son.
Hey, Chat.
I just wanted a divorce so I could start again. And that was before she accused me of some of the things that she did. But when she did that, he was like,
now listen here. Keep this in mind. I just want a divorce so I can start again. Keep that in mind. Okay?
You're the one that chose to play it nice. And I looked at him, and that was before she accused me of some of the things that she did. But when she did that, he was like, you're the one that chose to play it nice.
Oh, he's such a good guy. You guys, he was so nice during the divorce. Oh, you're such an upstanding guy, Seth. Thank you for being so nice during the divorce. Yeah, take everything from her. Didn't he ask for alimony? You asked for alimony, but you were so nice.
I looked at him and I was like, I chose to be a human.
I choose to be a human.
Accuse her of everything that she's done. Child still deserves a mother. Child still deserves to have his father.
But if Katie was so horrible and she was unfit to be a mother and she was the reason that all these horrible things happened to Sebastian, we're really supposed to believe you were so nice, you were such a hero. Right. I bet you the whole room stood up and
And it was like, well, this is what you get for playing nice.
It's what you get
and
for
I looked
playing
at it
nice.
and I was like, well, I hope you enjoy the rest of that retainer because you're not getting any more from me. I'll represent myself.
So now the attorney sucked too.
So I did. And so much happened. I wish I had more money. I wish I had a different thought process.
Because you would have done things differently? Because you didn't decide because you were human, you were going to play nice? Because now you wish you'd done it differently? Didn't Katie have to pay Seth $1,000 a month for alimony? He was so sweet.
Because I just wanted to be in my son's life. And I didn't think that my son deserved not to have his mother in his life.
Let's talk about this for a moment.
You talk about.
Let's shut these two up and talk about this for a moment. If we listen to what Seth says, Seth states that Katie ran to the Navy, right? She ran to get away. She didn't want to be a mother. She actually went so their child had insurance. Okay? He was a full-time daddy. He was a full-time student. He was a full-time worker. Yet Katie comes home and she's granted primary custody. And then we're going to hear Seth Rogers himself say that the courts deemed him borderline abusive. Have you all seen the divorce papers? Put a 1 in the chat if you've seen it. Put a 2 if you did not. You know what? Here you go. If you haven't seen these yet, go ahead and take a listen. Okay. See the photos, hear the allegations, know that the school called CPS, listen to it all.
Obviously it was, and of course it's been plastered all over social media. So, even I know about the divorce proceedings and how.
Actually, I'd like to say something about that. It's funny how every one of her declarations that she wrote is out there. None of my declarations are out there.
Then put them out there. You put everything else out there. Put out your declarations. You put it out about your son's trauma. You put out about your wife's trauma, your ex-wife's trauma. Put out your declarations. You have no problem putting out CPS reports and rumors and speculations. Put out your own declarations. You find it funny.
So everybody's only getting her written side of the divorce, but nobody sees any of mine out there.
Oh, no. I'm pretty sure I have yours out there. In this video right here. We put what you wrote in there.
I really think it's funny that that's out there on Reddit, but my stuff isn't out there on Reddit.
You know what I think's really funny? That you're even checking Reddit. That's what I think is fucking funny. That you have a missing child, yet you're befriending all these YouTubers, you're meeting all these women, all these 90% stay-at-home mothers, you're watching all the YouTube channels, you're looking at all the Reddits. When and where are you searching for Sebastian? When are you doing that? You find it funny.
The stuff that I submitted.
I find
that's an interesting perspective. It seems like it's a one-sided narrative.
One-sided narrative.
And I'll tell you right now, if people really want to look, they can look at mine because all of my declarations aren't written by me.
Then put them out. Put them out, Seth Rogers. Put them out.
I refuse to write anything bad about that lady.
Bullshit.
I refused.
You've done nothing but speak poorly on her since the moment you came on here. Unbelievable. He refused to write anything bad on the divorce papers about that lady. I'm just going to come to the internet and seek revenge. Anybody else find it weird that when they divorced, Sebastian was 8, and 8 years later, on the same date that divorce was finalized or filed, Sebastian disappears exactly 8 years later? 8 years later? I know, proceeds to accuse her. Right, Trevor, I can't.
Happened behind closed doors. What she put me through, the hell that she put me through.
So he wanted the divorce because he wanted to move on, and now he's telling everybody that Katie put him through hell behind closed doors. Put him through hell.
I didn't have a thing. I mean, we're talking about, I went 7 years without a girlfriend after the divorce. I didn't even, I wasn't looking for it. No.
Weird, because you said you just wanted to go ahead with this divorce so you could move on. Now you were 7 years without a girlfriend until what? Michaela came along and T-Rev stole her. Whoa. Yikes.
I mean, it takes time to heal from trauma.
Get a therapist, because it is years later, sir, and you're still not healed. You were still out here using the disappearance of your son to disparage his mother all over the internet.
From abuse.
Oh,
I was good living in my sanctuary, my house.
His
The
sanctuary.
only person that came into my house was my son. This is the safest place he knew
Oh,
because he felt safe here.
It's the safest place he knew, but yet you yourself said it was punishment to live with you. Okay.
Of course, he's going to feel safe in my sanctuary.
Your sanctuary. Me. My. I.
Because he had his own little sanctuary here, too.
Oh, yeah. He
You
had
want to know why he slept all the time when he was here? I didn't give him sleep aids.
Tell us.
Literally was asked what I did for him to sleep here
Tell
at
us.
my house.
Tell
And I
us.
told law enforcement, hot shower and some sleepy time tea, which is still up there in the cabinet.
Some sleepy time tea, a hot shower, and some sleepy time tea. That's so he just wanted to sleep there? Or could it be because his mother and his stepfather had him so active during the week that he had nothing to do at your house besides play video games, movies, and lounge around and go to sleep?
Bought at Walmart. I do it myself so that I can get to sleep a little bit easier. That's it.
That's
I
it.
don't believe in this medication and stuff that he was taking. I never did. And one of the reasons she divorced me is because I refused to sign off on any type of pharmaceutical medication for my son.
But you sure as fuck had no problem taking those pharmaceutical medications for yourself. I keep hearing this. I keep hearing all of his communications are inappropriate. He's hitting on all these women that are sitting here trying to help look for Sebastian. Did anybody else hear that? One of the reasons Katie divorced him was for the betterment of her son. She went to the Navy to get her son insurance, and then she divorced. One of the reasons was because this man wanted to sign off on the medications that Sebastian Rogers needed. But you don't mind, you don't, no home remedies when it comes to that shoulder. From Perk Daddy, Nora.
Because I believed in home remedies. He had ADHD, then give him this. Got into arguments with psychologists at the school. You want to...
Oh, you got into arguments with psychologists too, right? Oh.
You want to give him a cup of coffee every 2 hours. Well, you want to give him a pill every 4. I'd rather give him a cup of coffee and his kidneys will filter it out and it goes and takes a leak. Instead of building stuff up in the system and you're giving him Ritalin. You're giving him basically pharmaceutical meth. What are you trying to do to our kids?
Pharmaceutical meth. What are you trying to do to our kids? Medicational neglect. He just did say that. He sure as hell did just say that. Do home remedies on your shoulders. So this child who needed his medication wasn't getting it? Wasn't getting it while he was there? Huh.
Yeah. You
Nope.
wanted good, wholesome remedies to help you.
He,
Not,
as a child, needed to understand that what happens if something happens to me? And all of a sudden, he doesn't have insurance anymore.
All of a sudden he doesn't have, so now you're the reason he has his insurance. Okay, maybe that's true. I don't know. But what happens is something, I'm sure his mother would step it up. I'm sure his mother would step up like she did as a young teenager when she signed herself into the Navy to make sure her son had insurance. Again, he's the end all be all. This weekend daddy with the CPS reports against him.
And then all of a sudden, he has no idea what meds he's supposed to be on or anything else. And he's got to learn how to take care of himself. He's got to.
Let me tell you something. People won't like what I'm going to say, but I'm going to say it anyway. If your concern was what is Sebastian going to do if something happened to you, you'd be in your best shape. You'd go work out, lose the weight, and get yourself healthy so you can live longer for your son. Not take away his fucking medication that he needed.
Learn to function on his own without the use of medication. And until he was 8 years old, he wasn't on any medication.
Look at that. Once again, he's back to living to before he was before they moved here, back to when he was 8 years old, probably last time you were actively involved. Thank you so much, Chica. I appreciate that. Thank you. Before he was 8 years old, he wasn't on any medication.
I refused that stuff. Didn't have a single problem. Had a structure and routine in the house, and he flourished with that.
so
He flourished with that. You told us that he wasn't fucking sleeping, right? Did anybody else recall him saying that Sebastian wouldn't go to sleep? But now he was flourishing.
you kind of hit on something, and I was going to be getting into your relationship with Katie a little further down in this, but you said some things that kind of perked my curiosity. Was Katie abusive to you?
She had a drinking problem.
She had a drinking problem. So she had a drinking problem. You allegedly had a drug problem. Poor Sebastian, man.
When you say abusive, she was active duty Navy.
Oh,
And, you know, their slogan nowadays is I'm a sailor with a drinking problem instead of being.
that's the slogan for our Navy. I'm a sailor with a drinking problem. That's the slogan. Wow. Oh, Lord have mercy. I can't.
Being a drinker with a sailing problem. You want to know about emotional, physical, all that? You can check all those.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I dealt with a lot. Being a stay-at-home dad, and I'm not doing a man's job.
Oh. This man really comes to life when he's trashing his ex-wife, isn't he? Look how animated he got. Being a stay-at-home dad. Y'all, he was a full-time dad, full-time student, full-time worker.
And getting told this all the time, that she does a man's job. No, you're not doing a man's job, honey. You're literally an electrician. It's a profession.
Listen, when I'm pretty sure when Katie was saying like she's doing a man's job, she meant I'm paying for this household. I'm pretty sure that's what she meant. I don't think she meant physically like I'm an electrician, I'm doing a man's job. She meant, why aren't you stepping up to the plate as the man, right? The nuclear family, Seth Rogers. Why aren't you stepping up?
Profession. All right. That profession is not limited by your gender.
Honey.
I'm very. There's two jobs in the world, maybe three, but a man's job is to protect his family, and
a man's job is to protect and provide.
Man can impregnate a female.
So a man's job is to protect his family and impregnate a female. Ugh. I know, Barbara, isn't it weird?
A female is supposed to take care of their children. All right. Very specific gender roles in my life.
He has very specific gender roles in his life. This is why this man is divorced and not remarried. Listen to what he thinks. Listen to the way he thinks.
The way I was raised. Everything else is a profession. All right. I got tired of it.
I got tired of it.
So,
You guys, sounds like Katie got tired of it, and rightfully so. Oh my goodness.
when she asked for the divorce, I was good. I was like, please. I just want to be in my son's life.
May I ask you something? And I just want to ask you this kind of, because this is kind of unfolded itself.
Put a 1 in the chat if you think Seth Rogers has never got over the fact that Katie didn't want to be with him any longer. Because that's what I'm hearing. This guy has not gotten over it. And he is using this to bash Katie for it.
Like over the last 24 hours. Did Katie file for divorce on February 26th?
Oh, now he doesn't
I
know.
have no idea. I'd have to pull out the records and take a look at when she filed for a divorce.
You just said, he just said all the declarations all over, Reddit. Now he doesn't know the date. We all know the date. You know that date. And it's been exactly 8. You keep talking about your son at 8 years old, probably the last time you were actively in his daily life. And then 8 years later, on the same date as that divorce.
Well, somebody
weird.
is actually saying that it was February 26, 2019, exactly 8 years from the day your son disappeared.
He knows that date.
2016.
Or 2016.
Shut up, Tony.
I wouldn't know.
Spokesperson that
I'd have
doesn't
to go
speak.
literally either through the records, the paper records, or
The weight was nothing compared to the weight on his shoulders.
I'd have to go through my emails.
If you
Yes, there
found
is
out that it was on
emails.
the date that your son disappeared, what does that mean to you?
Just another day that she fucked my life up.
Wow. Just another day. I thought you were good with the divorce and you wanted it. And she was so abusive. You wanted to get away from her. Just another day that she fucked my life up.
Another day that what? First one was a divorce, way to destroy the nuclear family. Another one to take the last bit of my family away from me.
Way to destroy the nuclear family. Way to destroy the nuclear family. Are you seeking revenge for her destroying the nuclear family?
She's good at that.
She's good
Something
at
I
that.
always told my son, there's two things in this world that you can do with these. You can either build or you destroy. Be a builder.
That's what you would tell your son? You're so fucking weird.
Don't be a destroyer.
Don't be a destroyer like your mother, son. She destroyed my life, son. Your mother was horrible, son. She treated me horribly, son. I can just hear it. Put a 2 in the chat. Do you think Seth ever badmouthed Katie to or in front of Sebastian? I'm just curious, how many of you think that this man would speak this way in front of his son? There's no doubt in my mind. 2s are coming in. No doubt. No doubt. I can hear him saying it.
Not gender specific either. That's with everybody.
Not gender. You are such a...
He was going to be a builder.
He was going to be a builder. He wants to be a crane operator like his daddy.
At some point after the divorce, the animosity had to have calmed down. It sounded like you guys kind of got into a rhythm, a system, if you will.
You're right.
Was-
You're right. His son or his boy. His boy. You know what I noticed? They mentioned that Katie never says Sebastian's name. First off, Katie barely speaks. But I never hear Seth say Sebastian. Ever.
Sebastian was, going to your house. On the other, the weekends, it seemed like you guys weren't having custody disputes.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. I know this is difficult. I hate it really sucks. But what I was asking is, after the divorce, obviously it was pretty contentious and, you tried to keep the higher ground.
She tried to keep the higher ground. He wanted alimony.
I didn't try. I did.
Oh, he did. Round of applause.
You guys were clearly at some point started working together, started, making sure that your son, went back between the houses, that it was calm. It seems like you guys were becoming a well-oiled machine, if you will. Is that an accurate assessment?
Looking at these DCS records.
No, take those out.
Right. What do you mean looking at these DCS records? What do you mean? Like, I cannot.
Just your knowledge of the situation, just the way you're
My knowledge of the situation.
Yeah, just at the time, before your son disappeared, you guys appeared to have the animosity worked out. Where you guys would that be an accurate statement?
Animosity was probably still there.
Okay.
It would raise its ugly head every once in a while.
Gotcha.
Me, I just tried my best to ignore it. Simple things like, why don't you enforce the same rules at my house? So on and so forth. And it's like, got in trouble at your house. He got in trouble in your watch. You tell me why he's in trouble, and I will determine if it's severe enough that he will be punished here. But if it's not, I'm not going to continue the punishment. This is a different household. He didn't do his homework. Well, he's going to suffer on that end, but he's going to suffer at your house. He's not going to suffer at mine. Because when he was here doing homework during COVID, he did his homework. I didn't have to worry about it. I just don't see the point of him getting to come stay at my house and be in trouble for something he did at your house and being punished at mine.
Right. You wanted to visit with him. You didn't want to punish him.
I got 2 days with him.
Right.
Sorry. I had to feed the cat. Who remembers him saying, I'm not talking about the DCF records. I'm not, if they call my attorney one more time, I'm not talking about it. And then goes right back to it, right? Hands back on his head.
Punished here. But if it's not, I'm not going to continue the punishment.
You know what I think Seth did? I think Seth purposely tried to undo all the parenting that Katie and Chris did. I think he was angry that they were good parents. I think he was envious that Katie and Chris were living a nuclear family lifestyle. I think it made him jealous. And I think he did everything he could to undo all the work they did. His way or no way.
This is a different household. You know, he didn't do his homework. Well, he's going to suffer on that end, but he's going to suffer at your house. He's not going to suffer at mine.
No, he's going to suffer at school. He's going to suffer at life. That's what he's going to suffer at.
Because when he was here doing homework during COVID, he did his homework.
During COVID?
I didn't have to worry about it.
I bet you didn't.
I just don't see the point of him getting to come stay at my house and be in trouble for something he did at your house and being punished at mine.
Oh, I don't know. To keep it across the board, to co-parent, to make sure that Sebastian lived steadily across the board at both houses, to not confuse the child who's already dealing with disabilities that makes life more difficult. Maybe they just wanted to make his life as smooth as they could. I don't know.
Right.
Just an
You wanted
idea.
to visit with him. You didn't want to punish him.
I got 2 days with him.
Right.
And literally, you know, it was I go pick him up on Friday when he gets out of school at 3 o'clock.
Listen to
I
that.
literally get Saturday all day with him.
Disney dad got 2 days with his son. 2 days with his son. This father of the year that everybody's putting on this pedestal got 2 days with his son. And everybody wants to think that he knows anything about anything. Is that why we keep going back to movies and video games and food? 2 days.
And then have to take him back on Sunday.
2 days.
So I'm really getting only one solid day with him. You think I'm going to punish my son?
Right.
You're out your fucking mind. You know, Mr. Chris, I don't like the fact that he's, you know, you got him wearing underwear at your house. Well, we don't have the accidents at my house that he seems to be having at your house.
Who recalls Seth Rogers saying that when Sebastian had accidents at his house, he made him clean them up himself? Who recalls that? Can we get some ones in the chat if you recall Seth saying that? This is where I came in and said, can you clarify? Because you said that Sebastian had accidents at your house and you made him clean up his mess. Now you're saying he didn't have accidents. Right. Mr. Seth, why is he wearing underwear at your house? Lots of ones coming in. You guys recall this. Okay. All right.
So why, again, am I going to have my son wearing a fucking diaper at my house when he can get up and go use the bathroom and not have...
It wasn't a fucking diaper. It's not called a fucking diaper. Is that how you spoke about it to Sebastian? Did you make Sebastian feel bad for his medical needs? You want to give the kid his medication? Now you want to give him the pull-ups to protect himself from accidents and humiliation that he needed? You call it a fucking diaper? Are you fucking kidding me?
an accident.
Do you think Katie and Chris stressed him out? Do you think that's why he was having accidents?
Thanks,
Oh,
Chris.
shut up, Betty. You stress everybody out. Shut up. They stress me out. Back to me. Everything's about Seth to Seth. She asked about Sebastian. Again, sir, not you.
Me out. And I'm not a 15-year-old kid. I'm in law enforcement, and I'm
You act like a 15-year-old kid. You act like a scorned lover.
literally at DDC with 65 inmates that are either murderers or in there for a long period of time about to go to prison.
Yeah, let's talk about that. What type of relationship do you have with your inmates there, Seth? Because I keep hearing people say Chris Proudfoot has connections to the police. Chris Proudfoot has connections and Ellie's working with him. Well, you're telling us that you are Ellie. We're not supposed to believe that you have more connections to the police or criminals.
And those two stress me the fuck out and work them.
Wow.
So yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Do they stress you out enough to seek revenge on the anniversary of your divorce? Do they stress you out that much? Because he gets really fucking animated when it comes to Katie, doesn't he? It's the most emotion you see out of this man is anger when it comes to Katie. They didn't make him wear diapers. They're not called diapers, Terry, respectfully. He had a chromosomal deletion that caused him to have accidents.
I'm sorry. This is just one of those. Take a deep breath.
Oh, you're not sorry. Shut up.
And this is probably gonna, my next questions are gonna kind of be geared toward Chris. So, according to Chris, both of you guys spoke. What he's told the world is basically you guys speak regularly. Is
They used to speak regularly. Isn't that funny? Because Seth can't stand them.
that true, and how often?
About Sebastian? Yes.
Yeah.
But obviously, he's feeding me a line of bullshit every time I fucking spoke to him.
Oh,
And
really?
my phone number's still the same. And I know he probably watching. He probably in chat.
I know he probably watching. He probably in chat. Now you're all gangster. He probably watching. Oh, man, I'll tell you what. I don't know how Chris Proudfoot has contained himself this long. I don't know how he has. Thank you so much, Air Force. Thank you.
Hi, Chris. Fuck off. You can call.
You are such a slime ball. And look, the PR man laughs. You laugh. His PR spokesman is laughing when he's telling Chris Proudfoot to fuck off. But you didn't keep that energy in person, did you? You coward, like a little coward you are.
Call me.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Chris. Fuck off. You can call me.
Your maturity level is top notch. You're so mature. This is a grieving father, y'all.
Sorry,
And
that's
also-
that's been my key phrase, I guess.
Right.
But that's been my key phrase for a long time.
His key phrase has been fuck off, and his son's first words were a curse word. You're so cool, Seth Rogers.
Before my son went off to, play Houdini out of their house.
I'd run away too.
Beat me up, Scotty. It's only a Chevy. But
Right back to referencing movies. We're talking about the disappearance of his 15-year-old son, and he's making movie references and making it a joke. Thank you so much, Kalina. Thank you. Do you see that? Do you see? Oh.
I'm just tired of the bullshit. No parent should be going through this. Whoever has my son, just drop him off at a gas station, man. Show a little fucking humanity.
Show a little humanity. Drop him off at a gas station. I
My
can't.
heart is missing.
My heart is missing. Here comes the Hallmark quotes.
Just drop him off. Tell him to go call 911. I need my son.
This is what Seth Rogers does every time his mask begins to slip. He comes out with this, like, almost immediately. He does, like, some Hallmarky type of quote to make himself back to being a grieving father. Almost immediately. Every time after his mask slips.
I want my son back.
Right, Broke?
Life ain't fair. But this is bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Give him just a second, Betty.
Yeah.
Give him just now the spokesman speaks. Give him just a second, Betty. Like, Betty needed you to say that.
And I know you're a smoker. If you need to light one up, go ahead.
If you need to light one up.
We appreciate you. We appreciate
Shut up.
Sebastian's that.
them off because I'm having. So
It's a shame you blocked me for life, Betty. You did pretty well here.
100 times on your show what we would ask of everybody that has a heart, that doesn't want to go through this, that has some compassion, is that we focus on the child. We focus on Sebastian, and either do your part and pray, do your part.
And then what did he say back to that, My Crime Time? Seth says, I got balls. Do I need to show them to the world? He's so intimidated by Chris.
And there's always, you can always go and just, if you want to do something, go post a flyer on your pole right outside your home. That's probably the quickest and easiest way you can help.
I just got back from, as you know,
Shut up, Tony. You're so gross.
he wants to talk about,
Yeah. Actually, I was just going to say, in the next break, I would like to get an update on Kayla, but now that
Inconsistency underwear. That's what they're called.
Well, I heard him talking behind my back, so I wanted to come see what he had to really say.
A lot of people are talking behind your back, aren't they, Seth? Your little brotherhood over there's crumbling. crumbling.
Yeah, I'm
Hey.
trying. You know me, I'm crying over here.
My
Buddy,
apologies.
I'll tell you what, you're going to be putting time out after this show. I can promise you.
You guys, they're so cringe. Like, what are you three doing? Are you like having like a little fucking flirty little upside down pineapple fucking conversation right now?
Well, this is just an unfortunate thing, but it's kind of hard because I'm trying to find the perspective, and the way I'm seeing this kind of
Dude, the ads were every 10 minutes, Opal. And then she went to members only.
unfolding, as it seems like Chris is like the domineering one, and
She just called you a bitch. It seems like Chris is the domineering one. Oh, you mean Chris is like an actual alpha male? Wow.
how often did you speak with Katie before all of this? Was your primary contact Chris, or did you ever speak to Katie?
If I was Chris Proudfoot, I wouldn't let this man anywhere near my wife, because you can hear and see the jaded, spiteful, scorned ex-lover he is. She folded and went right to paying members only behind the paywall because people are really hammering her to the wall. Thank you so much, Casual Art. Thank you. Oh, it sucks you have to go.
Talk to Katie. But see, the animosity that's there between me and Katie wasn't really there when it was me and Chris.
No, you don't say. You had animosity between you and Katie. I wonder why. Right, thank you.
So you just find it easier to work with Chris than you do to work with Katie
Welcome, Sheila.
prior to this, right? Gotcha.
Correct.
Right, because he never
How
loved
did
Chris.
Chris approach when he asked you? How did he approach you when he asked you to take Sebastian full time? What was that conversation like?
Let's hear it, Daddy of the Year.
Many discussions have been had before it was approached, but
So do I.
both Chris and Katie and everybody was like, he is a different child when he comes back from living with you.
Right, he's a different child when he comes back from living with you because you don't have any fucking rules or guidelines. Mr. I'm so structured.
And because he's a different child, it's like I kept trying to tell him if they're having a problem with him, let me talk to him. Let me know what you'd like me to address so that I can speak to him.
Why? Because you were the punisher? Boy. Because you were the one that was so nasty and did the disciplinary? Is that why? You
Me
said
and
it.
Sebastian could, from an early age, me and Sebastian communicated. Like,
I'm not saying I'm
before he
here
could
to help
speak,
Sebastian, Brittany.
he would do grunts and sounds and stuff like that. And I know exactly what he wanted. And it upset some people in life, but it's
People got upset that he could understand his son's grunts. Listen, how many of us can't understand our children's, needs without them being expressed? Many of us can. Many.
like it's not my fault. I know what my son needs. Our wavelengths were more in tune,
There was
connected to my son. I mean, you kind of do that when you're, deadbeat tired to the world, and you're sitting there feeding them a bottle, going, "I'm still awake. I'm still awake. There's still milk in the bottle."
Right back to himself and back to Sebastian being a baby. We're talking about current times here, Seth. Do you have any current memories?
I've got pictures of where, he literally crawling everywhere, and then he would just hit his limit, and he'd be out on the floor. And
Thought
it's
he
like,
never
do I
slept.
pick him up,
Hey, kill
wake
shot.
him up, or do I just
Leave him.
slide a pillow up underneath him and then put a blanket on him and, try to get 20 or 30 minutes worth of sleep while he's passed out? And it's just one of those things. It's like, I believe children are supposed to have a solid foundation to lean on as they grow up. And I believe I was that solid foundation with the structure that I had in the house.
The solid foundation with the structure he had in the house. You told us that you would leave Sebastian alone while you did your 12-hour shifts, that you would call him at 1 or 2 a.m. and tell him to go to bed, that if he didn't have school the next day, he was allowed to stay up all night, that if he didn't come with you to go grocery shopping, he wasn't getting the food that he wanted. I agree, Caroline. You've seen Seth out searching? You're like the only person who has ever seen Seth Rogers out searching.
Everything routine, the court system literally at one point in time during the divorce told me that I was borderline abusive because I had, shower time at 7 and bedtime at 8.
The court system told him he was borderline abusive. I don't think it had anything to do with the structure. I don't think it had anything to do with shower time at 7 and bedtime at 8. Right. Likely the opposite.
It's like, how is that borderline abusive? It's routine.
It's not.
You know,
That's
it's
why it
school.
makes no
You
sense.
need to lay down. You need to have your hot shower, be clean, lay down clean in your bed. And whether you're asleep or not, but you need to be laying there so that you will go to sleep.
I don't know how that's what I did with my grandchildren. I put them down at 8 o'clock because then they can rest their bodies, and they're usually off by 9:30 after horse playing for an hour or so. And
But I was told that I was borderline abusive by a
They laid in bed and horse played. Tell us again, you were borderline abusive by the court system.
judge in California for having a set routine for my son.
Bullshit. Does anybody believe it's because of a set routine?
He was in school.
And that's what they tell you to do is have a
Back to California we go. Back to California.
That's one thing that throughout this whole process that has been instilled in me from all the parents is that a strict schedule is the best way for autistic children to survive, and to thrive.
And they didn't even have him diagnosed as autistic, but with the chromosomal deletion,
Nope.
it was
Nobody.
simple to understand that. And it's not even for autistic children. It should be all children. All children need to have a routine, and it's a foundation, because then it's stability. They already know what's going to happen as the night.
You know what I think he's doing? I think he's taken everything Katie was doing and acting like it was him. I think it was Katie that had a structure and routine. That's what I think. I don't think it was him.
Progresses. No surprises. You got to go. You got to take a shower. You got to get to bed. So that you can get plenty of sleep, so you can wake up in the morning, eat breakfast, get ready for school.
You as
need
well,
to sleep for
Mama.
your
Thank
mind to
you.
recover and your body to recover, so that you can absorb the information that's being taught to you at school.
You told us that you let him stay up all fucking night.
How was your relationship with Katie when you two met?
When she was a teenager?
What do you
It
mean
was-
when we met?
I'll answer that, Betty. It was illegal. That's what it was. It was illegal. Okay?
Were you aware of her abuse as a child?
I was aware of that.
Up. Tony's finally going to be a spokesman.
How did that affect your marriage?
Seth, stop for a second.
I prefer not to speak about her personal stuff.
Okay.
I still consider myself a gentleman, whether other people do or don't.
He's told us about Sebastian's traumas, Sebastian's diapers. He's told us about Katie not going through with pregnancies. He's just sat here and bashed the fuck out of Katie, called her abusive and all the things, said she wasn't a mother, she didn't have a connection to her son. But he's a gentleman, y'all. He's a gentleman. Gentleman my ass.
It's her personal life, and that is something that, for me to say anything,
He
that
would never,
be
JJ.
disrespectful for anybody to speak on how somebody else has been as a.
Gotcha. Well, then let me ask you this. And this is going to be a pointed question, and you may want to answer it, you may not want to. Do you believe Katie would abuse your son?
Am I talking about SA my son?
No.
Who thought Betty was asking if she would essay his son?
Abuse your son. Just abuse him.
Mental abuse?
Physical, mental, verbal.
I mean,
If you have to ask all the ways, the answer is no.
for my son to sit there and have told me while we were living in California that why does mama hate you so much?
Back to California, back to the divorce. I'm telling you, this man has never healed from that. And you know what's crazy? In the divorce papers, we see Katie wrote that Seth would say to Sebastian, "This is because your mommy doesn't want to love me anymore." Okay?
I wouldn't know, son. She's never said that to me. Well, she said that on the phone to you. Well, no, she didn't. She'd already hung up before she said that.
Oh, so you would gaslight your son. You didn't hear what you just heard. Or she never really said it, Seth. But there's no doubt in my mind you said some shit. No doubt in my mind you said some mean things in front of your son about his mother. Hell, you said it to the entire world. If Sebastian, and God, I'm praying, but if Sebastian is still out here somewhere, he is one day going to hear all of this. And he's going to know that daddy put it all out there.
Things like that are mental abuse to a child that was called my mini me. And whether she realizes it or not, every time she said something that was negative about me, I'm pretty sure my son took it to heart because he's my son.
Mm.
Well, I have to. How when you hear Katie talk about your son, and this is one thing that's really kind of rubbing me a little bit raw. She talks about some, in my viewpoints, the way she talks is disparaging. Are you getting that same?
You talking about her interviews and stuff since this has gone on? I can't sit through any of her interviews.
Disparaging? Can you imagine how Katie felt at this moment? I could not imagine how Katie felt at this moment. To hear this man on this channel put her down in every single way he can, and then say she's been disparaging towards Sebastian. Wow. Yep. Jamal, isn't that something?
I cannot listen to her. She won't even say my son's name.
No, she won't.
Your son's name. Your son, right? This is your show. It's your son. What is Sebastian's name, Seth? Because you never say it either. You always just say your son.
There's a reason why I say my son. Because my son has a name. His name is Sebastian Wayne Drake Rogers.
Oh, is that why you say your son? Because your son has a name? And it took for you to say Katie never says it for you to say it? Okay. The only time Seth ever says it is when he's showing some type of dominance over it.
My son. I'm looking for him.
Where?
I'm asking everybody to help find my son.
No, you've asked people to stop.
I don't hear her doing that. I don't see it.
Right.
I don't hear her saying his name.
You're not listening. How
I don't
could you?
see her saying his name. I don't see that. Nothing would have been better for me than being able to put our differences aside and work together to find our son. But
you couldn't shut your big fat fucking mouth from seeking revenge on her through the internet 8 years later.
I'm not going to let some dirtbag run the show when it comes to finding my son.
There it is. There it is. He has to dominate because it's his son. It's not, you're the one that couldn't put your differences aside for that child. You're the one that couldn't do that, Seth, because it's your way or no way. And you've made that clear 9 different times.
The only person that has an input on it would be his mom and me. We run the show to find our son.
You're so jealous of Chris's position in your son's life. It's so pathetic.
I don't care if you're married to her now or not.
Oh, you don't? He's been in your
The
son's
United
life
Front
for
is
8
not me and the
years.
stepfather working to find my son. It's me, the mother, and her husband.
Oh. So you want Katie to be standing up front hand in hand with you. Oh, back to the fact that he's never gotten over it.
Working to find our son. But he needs to learn how to support his wife in a supportive role while she looks for her son. But I don't see that.
You don't see that? He's been doing a fabulous fucking job.
And it's not my job to support her.
She don't want your
It
support.
stopped being my job to support her when
You didn't even support her when it was your job.
she filed for a divorce.
See? See? Tell me this man isn't just fucking jaded here. Scorned lover. That's all you are.
You know, the only support I have are some of my close friends. You know, I have close family, but they're in other states. You know, the support that I get from them is a phone call. You know, see how I'm doing. Got friends in other states. They call me, see how I'm doing. But
There was a vigil you had, and
Well, why isn't your family in town helping you search, sir? Where's all those good friends and family members? Why aren't they in town searching?
there was photos of Chris kind of being in your personal space, in my opinion. There were
Thank you,
rumors at that
Jackie.
time that he was screaming at you or raising his voice.
Go back to the beginning and zoom in on Tony. Interesting.
Or something about the whole GoFundMe situation. Do you have any comment on that?
you're speaking about I think that would have been less. He didn't like the path. He did.
It was right before they were seen at a motorcycle shop.
Yeah, I know which one you're talking about.
Mhm.
Hey, he didn't raise his voice at me. He was asking to work together. This was before I spoke to Tony, and before I spoke to a dog person who was completely ghosted me, by the way.
Oh, thank you so much, Caroline. If one of the mods have the membership link. So he's going to bring up the dog lady ghosted him. He's talking about Julia.
I don't care what her opinion is. She can't be looking for my son if she doesn't have his shoes and his clothes. They're at my house. Chris is already.
Julia has stated that she got everything she needed from TBI. Facts, Sheila. Facts.
said that he's not giving her anything of Sebastian's.
I
So
think
I'd like to know how she's got a scent.
I think he's reading the chat, Jackie. I think that's what he's doing. I heard he was blocking people left and right.
Find my son. And you know my phone number.
Mhm.
Give me a call.
Yeah, because you seem so easy to work with, Seth. I'm sure everybody's lining up to call you to work with you because you sound so reasonable.
He wanted to work together. I believe that was the one where another Korean.
So you're telling me Chris wanted to work together with you, but you wouldn't take it because it wasn't Katie standing hand in hand with you? Is that the problem we're having here, Seth? Because like they always did it, Chris always communicated with you in placement of Katie because the way you disparage her? Oh.
Creator turned around and showed what I said at the very end first, instead of actually showing how everything went in order. And people took offense to me telling the people, if you don't like it, to F off.
You know what else I noticed here? I'll probably be done for today. It's 2.5 hours and we'll pick it up another time. But another thing I noticed here that he says that, so he mentions the dog handler and all that. Then he goes in to say, it is a liability. It is a liability if people are searching properties in the name of Sebastian, that it falls back on him and is a liability. No, it isn't. It's not a liability on you. Then he also said to Tony, you mean like when you're calling me in the middle of the night to tell me what some, jackass is saying about me on the internet? What type of friend are you, Tony? What type of friend are you? That you are notifying this grieving father about irrelevant bullshit pertaining to YouTube. That you're waking him up to tell him about the negativity going on. It's like not what you're supposed to be doing. Actually, complete opposite. I couldn't agree more, Daphne. It is absolutely best that Jules stays away from him. So, Seth, how has your interview with BH Beach helped you in the efforts to find your son? Unfortunately, I don't think you care about getting your son back, but do about losing your newfound attention. I couldn't agree more. Yes, please hit the thumbs up if you haven't. I couldn't agree more. I think Seth is enjoying this attention. He's enjoying the opportunity to publicly disparage Katie every opportunity he gets. And I think he'll do anything to keep it. Seth to trauma bond with Katie. It sounds like he wanted it to be. And Katie and Chris aren't letting that happen. Katie doesn't want anything to do with him by the sounds of it. Can you blame her? How many of you would want to be in communication with Seth, especially as his ex-wife, after everything he has said about her? Right. The spokesperson said one sentence in 2 hours. He doesn't want anyone investigating anything that might lead back to him. He's doing the whole look over there, not over here thing. The whole thing was weird. Every time you ask a question about Sebastian, you get an answer about Seth. Everything has a negative undertone to it. He's the greatest father ever. Thank you so much, Caroline. Welcome. Sorry, guys. I don't like Seth or Chris. They both give me creeper vibes. This is all scripted and Tony there in case Seth forgets his lines. That might be why they were doing little symbols to each other. Oh, that's nice, Brittany. It's my show. Seth Rogers. Show did say that. It's my show. This is my son. This is my show. And then at one point he says to Tony, about Tony, you heard him. I'm the boss. So if you want to work and help find Sebastian, you have to do it under Seth Rogers. And you have to be willing to call him the boss. You have to be willing to do and say whatever he wants. Don't tell him what he needs to hear. Tell him what he wants to hear. Operate only how he wants you to operate. Opal, I'm telling you, I think this is just my assessment, and I could be far off, but I think that Katie filing for that divorce and Sebastian having disabilities ruined Seth's idea of the nuclear family. That's what I think. Thank you so much, Wandering Sub. I remember when he hit double digits. I can't blink. I can't. He is officially entering the teenage years, and my daughter is officially entering adult years. It kills me. Kills me. More than sadly, Catherine, more than you can imagine. His brotherhoods, they're all falling apart over there. Thank you so much, B. Thank you. You guys are so sweet. It really helps. So I really do. I truly appreciate it. Thank you. I don't know. I think that these upcoming weeks are going to be interesting. We called it here weeks ago that this day was coming. It's coming. I can't get over the fact that Seth keeps going back to when Sebastian was 8 and younger. He keeps reliving back in California when they were together as that perfect nuclear family. And he doesn't really have any current things to add. He doesn't have any current memories, any current pictures. Everything goes back to California. I think Seth is very spiteful about the divorce. I don't think he's ever healed from it. And I don't know why more people aren't looking at him. He talks out of both sides of his mouth. He says weird things about where Sebastian is. He speaks about it in past tense. He did at one point make a statement about when he goes to pick up his son. It's all weird. I wouldn't be surprised if this has an amazing ending story. One that involves Sebastian being okay, but also involves a lot of people having to apologize to the Proudfoots. I'm sure she could too, half sour. I'm sure she could too. It's like Sebastian is left in the past now, always spoken about in past tense. Yep. That's why Katie doesn't speak to Seth unless Chris handled the side of co-parenting. He's a lunatic. I think he takes every opportunity he can to disparage her and put her down. You know, how dare she ruin his idea of a nuclear family? Anyway, I have to go get some birthday gifts and get some things ready. Thank you again to everybody who has sent in a super chat or Cash App, PayPal. It really means a lot. Like, sincerely, thank you. He's a great kid. My son's an amazing kid. He deserves an amazing birthday. And thanks to all of you helping that be possible. It really means a lot to me. Thank you. Thank you so much, Ronnie. If you haven't, could you please take a moment? Let me turn this horrible music off. To hit the thumbs up. It means a lot. It helps with the algorithm. I'm not flooding you all with advertisements every 10 minutes. Like good old Betty over there. I'm not going to make you become a member to chat here. I am going to ask for a free subscribe and a free thumbs up, though. I truly am going to ask for that. And that's about it. Everything else is very much appreciated, but not necessary over here. One last thing I'm going to ask of all of you is to please remember, I know there's a lot of distractions. I know I am playing into the distractions. But at the end of the day, we are here today because of a 15-year-old child who unfortunately seems like many people failed him. His name is Sebastian, and we do have to still keep our eyes out for him. He's out there somewhere. On February 26, 2024, an Amber Alert went out for 15-year-old Sebastian Rogers. Sebastian is white, 5'5", 120 pounds, with brown hair and brown eyes. Sebastian was last seen wearing a black long-sleeve shirt, black sweatpants, and glasses. He has a medical condition that may impair his ability to return safely without assistance. If you have seen Sebastian or have information regarding his whereabouts, please contact the Sumner County Emergency Center or TBI at 1-800-TBI-FIND. Let's take this moment to pray for Sebastian's safe return.